Так, все нормально, да? Все работает вроде как. Там как бы инферно будет, которое старички не играют. Не, они играют его, но играют отвратительно. Всю жизнь шпилят в КС, да? Такой богатый опыт. Больше, чем у всех вместе взятых. И тем не менее, они как-то умудряются инферно проиграть, там, не знаю, лить там кому-то. Такими результатами, конечно, только растраты для этой организации, если честно. Им, конечно, видней, но со стороны, конечно, лучше. Старички, медийные, все дела, это хорошо. Как бы такое.
Welcome back to 9 to 5. We've got ourselves the first day of the Swiss Stage playoffs. We've had some fantastic matches so far, but now comes what I'm super excited for. The fact that I'm casting, but also the fact that we've got for ourselves Dignitas going up against lvlUP Gamers. The man on my left, well, technically left for me, but for you guys, he's on my right. He's got a nice little black screen behind him as well. He's really setting up his gear because he's really looking forward to this match. I like it.
Oh yeah. This is going to be such an interesting match because there's two sides to this story. On paper, we've got a team like Dignitas that they're significantly stronger than lvlUP. But at the same time, we have a bit of a doozy in the veto, which we will be getting to soon. But before that, let's look at the players. Of course, the four players, the Swedes, they don't need any introduction because they're a tale as old as time. Yeah. But they also have Halzerk, who is a stud, if I would say so myself.
Well, listen, this is all about making sure that these four absolute legends from the same country, these four absolute slayers can come through and make quick work of the new guys in the block. So yeah, lvlUP should do this pretty quickly is what I'm getting to. No, but obviously a very exciting game coming up for us, and I think it's even more exciting when we take a look at the veto, as we will bring that up in just a second, because Dignitas as a team has been struggling very massively when it comes to their maps and their map pool. We're going to take a look at the veto. We're going to bring it up very nicely in between these two camera boxes that we have. And Dignitas goes for the nuke pick. No surprises there. Fantastic win rate about it. But what's interesting is that every map that comes after the nuke pick is actually bad for them, because lvlUP has played this veto in an incredibly interesting manner. They've let nuke through, which, you know, they're all right with it. They're not fantastic on it, especially not compared to Dignitas. But Inferno and Vertigo are maps that lvlUP should on paper be stronger than Dignitas on. Because Dignitas, I'm looking at their win rates, man. It's terrible on these maps. Inferno is 28.6% across 7 maps as well. And Vertigo is 1 and 3. And the one win they had, it was a double overtime win. So it wasn't really convincing at that.
Yeah, that's why I would say that this game has the makings of an upset coming through from lvlUP, because sure, you have that nuke pick that Dignitas is heavily favored on, but then you have Inferno, 29% win rate, not the best in the world, and lvlUP have a significantly more number of maps on their side. They've played 17 maps already versus the 7 of Dignitas, and they've won 60% of them. Vertigo, like you said, same story. lvlUP aren't the best on it either, let's be honest. They've won less than half of their games. They've won 4 out of 10 maps, but Dignitas, they just don't have much experience on it. They've played 4 maps. They end up losing losing 3 of them. And like you said, one map, 19-17 or overtime or whatever it was, that's cutting it too close. This could very well even be a 0% win rate. So I'm very interested in this veto because this is already the start of an upset coming through.
Well, you're also looking over towards the fact that lvlUP, sure, they don't play Vertigo very much, and the results on Vertigo have been mixed, to say the least, but they've had a lot of close series, and they've had a lot of close games. And more importantly, it's now recently started becoming one of these maps that they go to flip the script a little bit, to say, okay, our map pool's not that strong, but you also kind of suck on this map, so we're going to pick it, and let's flip a coin. Let's do that. And we saw them doing that up against 9 to actually get to the Swiss stage as well. Last week in their group, they beat out 9. They came through the lower bracket, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and they first lost to 9, and then they were able to come back into it.
So it was a 16-6 victory, and that also came through in very similar fashion. Now, the difference is that the players from 9 are not the players from Dignitas. You don't have Forest. You don't have Halzerk, the 2 big star fragging beasts that they are, and then everyone around them just this black hole of veteran spirit that's going to suck out any new blood that exists on the other side and make sure they can make quick work of it. But we also have to make quick work of this knife round as we get right into it.
But before we do, You have to keep in mind that Esports Millions is back. In collaboration with 9 to 5 Cup 4, you once again have the chance to win 1
Так, ну что, сколько нас тут? У меня тут до сих пор гребаные ремонтные работы идут. Я не знаю, как тут можно с микро вообще что-то говорить. Это невозможно прям. А, так тут всего 2 человека. Чё я парюсь? Нормально онлайн, нормально. Заявление серьезное. Заявление серьезное, конечно, спору нет.
I haven't figured out if the audio is from TeamSpeak or vMix yet, so I'm sure that the production will let me know in just a second so I can know what exactly I need to mute, because I just frantically started pressing all my buttons so I wouldn't scream on my microphone. But it's time.
В принципе, если можно что-то поговорить, то может быть кто-то и подойдет. Тоже как вариант.
Maybe Ice Cream went in some fantastic pistol rounds as well. Level up, starting off on their CT side. This is where you want to be in an underdog situation. D is starting things off with a few bullets in. They're not connecting with the heads though, and although damage is respectable, it is not respected by Dignitas, who will be able to come through down into lower. D once again taking face, but not the.
Вообще, по идее, легкая должна быть для Dignitas. Их любвеобильный нюк, которым, в принципе, особо никогда проблем не было.
The duels come through, but Dimke's already chimed in. He's gotten 2, but there's still quite a bit of work to be done. 2 just might not be enough, but
они уже техников отыграли, и в конечном итоге как бы все.
The bomb is ticking down. He has 2 opposing angles to work with. There's already a player on ramp, and he also has to check the railing, but on top of the silo, this angle is a little too much for him to contend with.
90% побед.
Eventually goes down.
Вау.
And right there, we saw so many opportunities that the ramp player had on level up to come through
90% прям неплохо.
Out for a second one, to maybe even get 3. But all of those shots to the feet, all of those shots to the chest, they don't matter. He had to get the headshots in, and the aim just wasn't there, unfortunately. He had 3 different opportunities to reface out and get a quick dink. Unfortunately, it's not there, and without the initial stopping power that the ramp player is supposed to provide, it's going to be a bit tricky. Now, Exist, Mac-10's at the ready. He's getting a bit aggressive. He's got the wall of smoke to get it with a lot of space gained early on. And now the question is, how does level up respond?
Форсит и проигрывает, то как бы далеко. Такая Diggy, будучи в атаке, пофармит еще.
Could be the game changer here, because if the tags start to come through, then the Deagles can truly materialize into something that is a little better than some damage. But secret control has already been established by the terrorist side. That smoke isn't going to be ideal, and that'll allow Freiburg to move forward. Dimke sees that Molotov, and he'll be backing off slightly, but so will the terrorist side.
Вроде как и было 30 человек, вроде бы каких и не стало.
Now it's all a game about the damage.
Impulse is speaking out in the garage, gets Freiburg, finishes off what he started earlier, and now he'll look for more.
Dignitas level up.
Denies the flank, but he has his Molotov out. Eventually goes down to Necrogenesis. It's a 3 versus 3. But the weaponry advantage will obviously be in the favor of the Dignitas side. Necrogenesis trying to find the headshot, but it's instead Forest on the
много молодых людей, которые как бы типа стримят. Кто не стримят, просто включили.
Established by the CT side, I would say they were able to take away 3 players, but it would be a lot more about the damage if the side were flipped around.
Damage is
Да, просто тупо включили,
what I like is that's all you want when Impulse hasn't gone for the full buy. You want respectable damage, if you can win the round, sure, that's fine. They're going to be going for the AWP in the next round regardless. They'll have enough money to be able to buy up pretty reasonably across the board. You're sitting at 2,500 apiece. That's 2,900 on top of that. You're well over the 5k mark, and Impulse can get the op. The question is, now Dignitas, how much can you reaffirm your economy? Halzerk's getting aggressive with the Mac-10, wants to get something done, but the CTs have gone outside completely and are circling around from the back now.
The bomb is already down. Freiburg, he has the equipment to take care of this problem, and he's able to line up 3, and Forrest will eventually chime in. What could have been a lot of damage falls to the Mac-10, and that's what I gotta love about that gun.
I mean, there's a lot of things to love about that gun. The fact you can jump up and still headshot people.
Oh yeah.
the fact that you can spray, but you don't really know what's going on, so you jump up and hope that it'll headshot someone.
Yeah, that's just your matchmaking experience in a nutshell. I don't think anyone else is hoping for those shots to come through.
Well,
But now,
you say
level
that.
up, their buy comes through.
They don't have a kit, which is interesting. They've gone for a lot of head armor, which is very necessary because of the buy that they know Dignitas has. Exist getting aggressive towards outside yet again will be able to penetrate into secret, get full control. But Impulse now with the AWP, he's the difference maker who saved up a bit of extra money. Can he actually bring everything together, though, as they start to move forward into his crosshair? Impulse has to hit these initial shots as they peek out, finds one, very important, but he jumps up and exposes himself, takes a lot of damage because of it.
That damage is still going to be somewhat insignificant because he does have an AWP, so he can still work off of it. But of course, up against these AKs, it could still come back to bite him. Hallzerk, he's about to open the door. This is where the first point of contact is, and Impulse is trying to position himself in a way where it's harder to hit him, but he misses a shot. He eventually goes for another one, and he manages to get two, and now it's up to his team to hold down the line. AUG, Scope comes in clutch, get right from the back lines. The flank is successful, and it's a 3 versus 2. Double doors being open. Hallzerk hits the scroll wheel, and that's a 1 versus 2. Get right. He has to try to recover the bomb, and the double peek comes in. He has the AK now. Doesn't. Oh, that utility. So unfortunate. Switching over to the flashbang at the wrong time, and the peek comes through. Very, very unfortunate.
Gets right starting off classically, just coming in from behind, finding D, bringing him down. But if Hallzerk hadn't had the auto hop come into play with the scroll wheel, I'm sure it just ticked off. Sometimes older mice do that. And if that hadn't happened, Hallzerk would have had a guaranteed kill. It's a 2v1, maybe a 1v1 if he gets traded out. Much easier for Get Tried as well. But at the end of the day, it's the first round for level up. They start things with Impulse's AWP. And can they do the same in this next round? Impulse scoped up directly towards Redcon, but Hallzerk, I think he saw him. Impulse, however, still going for a shot through the smoke, which will not land. Once again, it seems like Dignitas really like maintaining and gaining secret control and seeing what they can do with that.
This really pushes back the CTs to the point, even if Dignitas goes for early control of secret and then backs off, that's already too much information being denied for the CT side, which is something that Dignitas really like playing off of. Now Impulse, a very dynamic positioning off over towards from outside.
Что в итоге с мембрами, я не могу понять. Мембров закрыли, коэффициент 4 оправдался. Халява. И халявные коэффициенты 4 залетают.
D picks up exist. It's all down to Dimk.
Dimk in the 1v2 knows he has to go for this. His teammates' economical situation isn't the best. The previous round, sure, they did win it out, but it was a 2v1, and that's not really cash money saved. Dimk all picked up. I wouldn't be surprised if he just saves. There's no kit either, which is the big difference maker at the end of it all. Freiberg and Hallzerk keep their players alive, but more importantly, they've found themselves their 4th round and a broken CT economy. So you're looking at easily a 5-1 scoreline just to start things off. And after that, you have to remember, lvlUP's playbook is not very deep on this map. So unless they can figure out a way to start contesting this secret take early on,
Ой, легкий коэффициент 3 залетел. Как мембры такое могут отдавать, вообще не понимаю. Сингулярити. Топ-80 выигрывает топ-16. Какое удовольствие. Как вы так это сливаете, я не понимаю.
And this is starting to show up in this match as well.
Как бы у вас везде проигрыши по оверпасу, но это же сингулярити. Можно так позорно отлетать, блин.
But of course, if they do get that opportunity, opportunity denied actually with Impulse dying in hell. Still, chances there for level up to do a little more damage.
At this point, lvlUP was going for the full round win. They're in a 3 versus 4, and now you start asking yourselves, okay, how much can we save? Can we find ourselves 2 kills? Can we find ourselves an AK? DimK sees another player, will be able to smoke himself into a slightly better position. Even the Molotov cancelled out, but
А здесь кто-то есть живой, выживший? Кто-то смотрит этот матч? Наблюдает за старичками. И те же на манеже. Я не понимаю, почему многие типы русскоязычные залетают на англоязычный стрим и типа спрашивают англоязычных, какой счет и так далее. Может им написать, чтобы все сюда заходили? Ну что, вы что-нибудь ставили на этот матч? Минусовая фора Dignitas на нюке и победа лвлUP на Инферно? Бэшка? Даешь шансы носорогам, да? А что скажешь по поводу сингуляров, как бы? Сингуляры 16-9 мембров прикрыли. Вот это, конечно, красота. Коэффициент 3.80. 3.80 просто легко залетел. Но это действительно как-то несерьезно.
Amount of information you can get in anti-eagles is enormous there. That one part of the map gives you sound for outside if they're going for a fast outside play. It gives you access to the vents if they're going for a fast vent drops. It makes sure that you know the utility that's coming.
Вторую сливает, третью закрывает. Понял. Чаще всего так и бывает, конечно.
The kind of information that's afforded to DimK in that initial angle is huge. So really nicely played by him and the rest of his team to clean that up nicely. Now it's another anti-eco and it seems like this one should be fairly clean, but as I say that I've jinxed them.
Сингулярити 1.5? А, ты имеешь в виду фору брал? Или что? 1.5? А, кэф 1.5? Ну, на первую карту в начале 3.75 было, или 3.80, я точно не помню. Но было прям... Было прям вкусненько.
About to be greeted by 3 terrorists all at once, and as he unpeaks, this is where they start to come through. Freiburg with a nasty shot leaves Impulse and AVN all alone to try to clutch it out 2 versus 4.
А, на сингов точный счет 2-1. Нифига себе. 2-1 на победу Сингулярити. Нифига себе.
Potential recoverable territory, but AVN, oh, he's looking for more.
По идее, мибры забирают даст, как бы там должно быть без шансов, да? А потом то самое инферно, на которое они все никак собрать не могут, да? Ходячий бук сидит. Хочешь сказать, большой опыт был приобретен, да? Или именно то, что именно этот турик читаемый? Ну ты с первого, 925 с первого смотришь?
Really lost that round is because Impulse was missing some shots from the boosted up spot on top.
Я просто с первого смотрю, я тоже иногда предугадываю, но иногда тяжковато бывает. Но если у тебя 2-0 даже говорят. Гений ставок получается, ну да. Не, ну 2-0 это уже прям сильно. Я не думаю, что не даст прям в нули насольют, это будет шок. Чем вообще их держать, если их сингулярити вообще закрывает? А у тебя там, получается, должны еще гамбиты, да, выиграть? Победа гамбит. Как у них там дела вообще? Как у них дела? 4-3. Ну, короче, пока только начало.
Great Molotov timing from Necrogenesis, as he will be able to isolate some deals in a mini if he wants to. Flash is dodge, cannon flash is great, but the spray is only good for one. And it's a 2v4, one that is increasingly unlikely, and you are going to see them
Плотненько.
probably run away and save. No kits are there, no Molotovs either. Retaking against
Так если ты ходячий бук, то у тебя все хорошо в жизни, значит.
But maybe they can... Okay, they're not quite for it, thank God.
Если все так на изи раскрывается, как книжечка.
Are they? You know what? Everything is a lie. I don't know. Why am I trying? Okay. Finds the AWP.
Там Инферно
With reveal his
Defensive
position,
Gambit.
that was
Я
heard, and the
понял.
question is, do Dignitas try and hunt?
Seems very unlikely that they'd be able to hunt him purely because of their positions. So that's an AWP, Kevlar, bunch of utility, M4.
Ну, так если ты там понимаешь и делаешь вывод, то как бы все. Можно больше к этому не возвращаться, к этим азиатам. Или они тебе прям так импонируют. То прям таки манят поставить.
So it ends up working out for them economically, but the utility will be somewhat conservative. Can't say entirely, but they will be missing out on a few flashbangs, which might be necessary for the.
Захочешь слить денег, ты лучше меня поддержи. Своими 50 рублями. Рублями. Я вообще никогда бы не советовал в Азию лезть. Я не знаю. Там совсем другая атмосферка. Да ладно, я шучу. Это я так. Ни в коем случае не байт. Я этим не занимаюсь.
Can't connect with the shot initially, and Dignitas, with that information and the information that he's backed off, they could be going for a late secret. Actually, it's going to be late ramp hit.
Просто я вот сколько раз туда не заглядывал, блин, там такая дичь постоянно происходит. Ок, шучу, давай 150. Ок, шучу, давай 10 тысяч, да? Не, на самом деле, цифры-то реальные. Но немножко ситуация не та. Я, кстати, последние деньги свои отдал за этот, чтобы мне сделали какую-нибудь уникальную картинку, чтобы он типа под YouTube. А то слишком обобщенно. CSGO Live, это, блин, зашквар. Надо было раньше, конечно, все сделать. И там, гляди, уже этот закончится время страйка на основном канале, и можно будет продолжать. Но уже, к сожалению, не вровень с мейнкастом, который стримит какие-либо турниры, с ними, конечно, сотрудничать нельзя.
And Holzek's not been really able to get involved in these rounds per se. You're not seeing him come through with some massive kills. It's actually.
Не, я вообще-то надеялся, что сегодня на самом деле будет много людей, потому что, откровенно говоря, же ESL нету. Ну вот, единственный, который серьезный матч, который интересный. Гамбит и Хард Легион, да? Но тем не менее, все равно никого нет. То есть, даже если посмотреть... Даже если посмотреть, вообще никого нет. Хотя вы сейчас пишете, а мне пишет, что сейчас смотрит один человек. Блин, как это работает, я не понимаю. Такое ощущение, что я где-то вообще в одном месте нахожусь, и меня никто не видит, именно выдача. И странно. 3 человека. Нет, так у меня, в принципе, с этим проблем даже и не было. Сколько вот? И 800 было человек, и 600, и 300, там, и 100, и 200. Но это все на ESL. Тебя не видно, потому что без вебки? Так у меня вебка скоро придет. Я же вебку купил за донаты тоже. Я и микрофон за донаты купил. У меня прям целевое назначение донатов происходит. Все по назначению. Скоро будет. Возможно, сегодня даже, я не знаю, если курьер придет. Так вот, как бы с проблемы не было на самом деле, но суть в том, что это был ESL. Был ESL, и там, естественно, аудитория будет априори больше. Но в связи с тем, что прилетел бан, ой, не бан, а страйк, причем не от ESL, я не стримил мейнкаст, я стримил именно английскую трансляцию. Все равно мейнкаст быканул. Потому что у меня был большой онлайн. И я не знаю, есть ли смысл снова туда идти, чтобы снова получить страйк. Постоянно создавать эти каналы, и меня уже заколебался. Сколько это может, блин, продолжаться, я не знаю. Просто они душат тех, там, у кого как бы хороший онлайн. Кто достигает каких-то там успехов, они, естественно, хотят себе переманить всех этих людей. Принимают такие меры.
They have a bit of a gamble for themselves as well because they don't have any money. They've opted to buy up Kevlar.
Вчера я ночью, допустим, разобрался, как стримить через GoTV, когда IP GoTV дают на матч, там на североамериканские какие-нибудь там. В принципе, все понятно. Там и делать особо ничего нечего. Там камера за тебя работает. Просто то, что комп немножко подтраивает, конечно, потому что это одновременный стрим и ОБС.
They have the garages again, but this time there's no pesky Deagles to get a 3K. The Deagles and CZs are hiding away inside locker room in heaven, so Necrogenesis could still be a big threat. Holzerk, AWB at the ready, he's playing more supportively, making sure no one can push in from behind, while the AKs take a duel. Holzerk trades away, finds a great kill on the Impulse, but now it's back to Secret, it's back home, where Dignitas seems to find themselves every single time, and Get Right is on a
Ну,
classic
даже
run.
если этот матч пройдет в таком ключе, ну, в плане малом количестве зрителей, то следующий должен быть поактивнее. Скорее всего, как бы, во-первых, время уже такое вечернее будет, во-вторых, форзы будут играть. Как бы, если будут форзы играть в вечернее время, это наверняка будет способствовать тому, что будет онлайн. Плюс нету никаких параллельных матчей, прям таких серьезных. Если бы, конечно, пофиксить вот эти микролаги, которые происходят систематически раз в 20 минут, я не знаю, как с этим бороться. Конечно, не есть хорошо для трансляции. Блин, как можно с ЦЗшки на таком расстоянии, конечно, давить? Красиво, красиво.
Honestly, when Necro missed that jump and he picked up a Farmers, he was caught up in transition to the Farmers. Forest takes him down, thinking, yeah, it's done. They've got a Molotov, they've got utility, but apparently it doesn't matter.
It's also a great round from lvlUP because they were able to upset this round on the basis of a piece together buy, something they just put together hastily with barely any money. So, force buy comes through for them, and Dignitas, they're receiving quite a bit of a fight from lvlUP actually, even though they are on the T side. Now, A side being contested, AVN is in the perfect position. He's waiting to pull the trigger, however, and when he does, he manages to get to Dimke's there as well, and Forrest in a 1 versus 3 ends up missing the spray, and that'll mean the 6 round war for lvlUP.
It's not just the 6 on the board.
Как хорошо начинался набор у дигов. Но лап возвращается. Кстати, очень хорошо.
You know, those things happen, but otherwise lvlUP has made what looked to be a very dire circumstance into a serviceable half. Sure, it's not ideal. You don't want to let the terrorists get 7 rounds on their T side of nuke, but hey, you do what you can and
Так, а во сколько будет матч? 19:00. Это получается следующий. Следующий сразу за этим матчем, да? 15:00.
Runs away, decides against doing anything. Impulse even trying to drop an op to him, but D takes a while, and because of that, the T's are down the ramp, and they're
Не, ну если, конечно, Singularity 2:0 Мибров закроет, то им явно нужно принимать какие-то решения. Это ужас.
This is a very haphazard round. The CTs are very much at risk. AVN pushes out, he's dinked up. Forrest making his way over with the M4, won't be there on time, but the defuse isn't coming through.
НГФ и третий берут.
Forrest comes forward, grenade goes in as well. Will it finish the man off? It would have if it went a little bit further. But the lineup just wasn't there.
Блин, прикольно, они, конечно, комментируют, как будто это финал мажора. На самом деле никаких событий таких критических не происходит.
Yeah, it's just the position of the bomb plan that makes it so hard. And now you can see how the upset on that force buy is starting to materialize in the scoreline from what could have been even a 10-5 half.
Поставил весь банк на 2:0 от Синга. Ты, наверное, шутишь? Или серьезно? А зачем ты так решил рискнуть? Ты что, ильтанул немножко? Зачем ты так сделал? Ну, победа, первая карта, реально оправданная ставка, а 2:0. Ты что, все деньги конторы хочешь забрать? Тем более весь банк, понятие, конечно, субъективное. Поэтому тебе целесообразно написать, что значит весь банк. Если весь банк это 200 рублей, тогда я тебя понимаю. Правильное решение. Правильное вложение. А так немножко непонятненько. Вот на первую карту самое классное, ну, самое верняковое, наверное, решение, даже если по статистике посмотреть. Как бы победа, первая карта Singularity, это хороший выбор. А вот 2:0 не знаю. Не думаю, что они прям берут 2:1. А, ну я помню, что ты писал 2:1. Я в них почему уверен, мибры либо заберут 2:1. Тут, если победа Синков, то только 2:0. А вот человек пишет 2:1.
The Biscuit run coming through, level up going for 2 sets of utility. Impulse and D both bringing out one apiece, but Gets Right is being assaulted on the ramp. Forrest providing some cover, but it's not enough. No kills to be found.
Но они Инферно плохо играют. Я помню, даже несмотря статистику, я помню, что мибры на Инферно, блин, отвратительно смотрятся. Мы не только его не проигрывали. Сейчас я, конечно, открою. Но они проигрывали всем. Хотя оппоненты тут более серьезные, чем были у носорога. Или кто там, Singularity. Но тем не менее, я помню все их игры, и они, блин, играли отвратительно. То есть тут действительно, возможно, 2:1 за Singularity тоже имеет место быть. Как бы действительно может. Я бы, конечно, посмотрел бы счет, но что-то у меня не грузится ХЛТВ. А, вот, все, грузится. 3-6 ведут, да? Не, ну, блин, я не знаю, почему ты тут 2:0 нарисовал.
Dignitas have allowed level up to equalize off the back of the pistol round and are more likely than not going to allow them to get
просто позорище будет, если это случится.
Kevlar, when you have a scout, is largely useless. It really doesn't make much sense about why you'd want to go for it.
А я еще, знаете, что поставил? Я поставил фора плюс 5,5 на второй карте на АГФ. Я помню, что спруты на Вертига такие себе, ребятушки. Но они, к удивлению, почему-то именно его и пикнули. Я этого вообще не понял. Может, они его, конечно, невероятно подготовили. Просто мне предложили 5,5 фору. Я даже не думаю взял. Они уже взяли 5 раундов. То есть в моем случае они уже 10 раундов взяли.
Yeah, quite a bit of damage still being done by the CT side. It's respectable,
but
it's not quite enough.
Dignitas, пожалуйста, будьте добры. Тоже не понимаю теперь, зачем all-in на сингах тильтанул. Да, с этими делами никогда нельзя спешить. Прошлый варик был просто первой картой и все. Я как бы тоже хотел это сделать. Я нажал уже ставить, а там уже первый раунд появился. Появился первый раунд и выигранный, я имею в виду. И в конечном итоге там КФ 2 15 что ли было. Я уже думаю, ну и ладно, хрен с ним. И взял, короче, вот эту фору, про которую я сказал.
Secret is the one gamble they've put up.
I mean, when you're on 5,
Тильтовать, конечно, тут нельзя.
Traveling caravan of death. Oh, yeah. Question is, where do you stop and lay down your grave?
Запрещено. Иначе минус бабосик будет систематически капать. Капать из кошелька, да?
It is just going to be Frybig's head that is found, not really a stone with it. Necrogenesis taking them down, cleaning things up, and easy does it.
Блин, а я ж покушать не успел.
It's still a significant amount of damage.
lvlUP-то борется
You were saying
временем.
how many people can they get to join them in their grave, and apparently that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit.
Блин, вот это, конечно, красиво. Если они нюк отожмут.
I'm quite surprised by that, honestly. I don't think it's particularly impactful because obviously it's a T side and they did just have a few really good rounds, so their money isn't terrible. The impact will come in this round though, because now if Dignitas start to win this one out, if they can bring it together, then lvlUP are going to be forced onto a much more haphazard buy, if a buy at all.
Ну, у них неплохой. У носорогов ты имеешь в виду? Я помню, что у них инферно прикольненькая. Апексы у атаксов, я думаю, атаксы там победят. Если они, конечно, в форме. Но вообще нет никакого понимания, где они были все это время, чем они занимались. Ты говоришь... У носорогов нюк сильный, да? Я просто не хз. Блин, как у них много официалок сыграно, жесть. Нереально много официалов. И, конечно, рафлатурики дают очень большой буст для статистики. Ой, походу, сейчас приемочка будет террористов. Прям очень простенько это все было.
Death-wielding machine. Holzek even jumps up, scouts out the player on top of Mini, finishes them off, and AVN, yes, he has a tall order.
Очень грамотно, конечно, они приняли ребятушек на девятке. Там реально без шансов было.
Oh yeah. If it wasn't for the time, that was the making of
Апек заберут, говоришь.
But unfortunately, time is not on his side. Dignitas played that
А я думаю,
perfectly,
что
and
атаксы
Get Right
заберут.
and Forest, their coordination in that regard was perfect. For Get Right to be able
Думаю,
to
что
play from a
всё-таки
position where
атаксы.
he's trying to cover Forest and
Это, кстати, одна из
get
моих
two opposing
любимчиков.
duels on two angles that are very close, that allows Forest the
Одни
mobility to
из
be able to get the
любимчиков.
refrag soon enough
Тир
without
2
allowing the
сцены.
teams to respond. Dignitas, this is their opportunity to start building their bank because the terrorists, they're knocked down economically as well. Very juicy nade to start things off as Necro goes down to 15 points of health. Balzerk looking to contest outside, and this time he won't have
Но
his
апексы
signature
могут,
AWP.
как бы, я не
Instead, he will
исключаю
have an AK-47 that he picked up
того,
from the
что
previous
апексы
round.
могут.
Taps away. This is pretty much a firing range
Но
as long as he
я
can play his
думаю,
cards
что не
right,
смогут.
but his cards, at least the cards that are dealt to him, will be a little
Атаксы
too much
более
for him.
месяца не катали.
Exists
Откуда ты знаешь,
now
катали
one
или
line
не
of defense
катали?
before they can enter mini.
У тебя нет инфы по поводу катали, не катали. Они же внутренние чемпы Германии катают. Во-первых, там Денис один из топовых игроков, и есть Марселю, который может соло попробовать. Да я все это знаю. Я все это знаю, но крайне сыгранная эта команда Атаксы. У них широкий маппул и как бы опыт на уровне. Вопрос в том, просто катали они, не катали, да, тренировались, не тренировались. Я думаю, они внутренние немецкие катали, скорее всего.
But based on this position, it could work out really well for him, especially if they decide to go up the silo. Regardless, with support from Freiburg on outside, this is going to be a double peak that is very tough for them to contest.
10-10, да?
There is an AWP on D.
Проиграет Атаксы, максимум закроет одну карту. Ну, к сожалению, мы не посмотрим этот матч. Я бы, если честно, с удовольствием его глянул. Но там никак, да, по-моему, по таймингам не получается. 18:00. А, так он через полчаса начинается. Но мы его и не посмотрим, потому что смотреть его негде.
Few rounds. He's in 1vx situations consistently, but can he get the kills before the round is lost? 4 versus 3.
Но было бы интересное зрелище.
Dignitas don't have utility, so there's still a chance for the terrorist side with the amount of Molotovs they have. Get right.
Кстати, вот матч был у Апексов не так уж давно. Там, где они Copenhagen Flames 2-0 залили. Я там брал победку и фору на Copenhagen Flames. Инфа проскочила, точнее я как бы увидел, что они толком не спали перед официалкой. И они реально потом залили и АГФом, и Нексусом, короче, жесть. Copenhagen Flames, Singularity матч берешь. Что ты имеешь в виду? Беру. На ставку имеешь в виду или на стрим? Ну, я стримить буду, естественно, до самого победного. Я обычно просто в группе пишу расписание. В группе ВКонтакте. Я буду стримить, значит, в 19:00 Forza Hellraisers после этого матча. А потом, скорее всего, Imperial и Висла. То есть чисто 9 to 5. Турик. Чисто этот турик. Там просто он там просто по таймингам очень удобно идет. Здравствуйте, молодой человек. Здравствуйте, уважаемые люди Краснодарского края. Приветствуем вас. Приветствуем. Уважаемых людей Краснодарского края всегда рады видеть. Коэффициентами 12. В руках и в карманах. Ой-ой-ой, а там АГФ уже 9 раундов взяли, да? А 9 раундов для меня это уже 14 раундов. Это хорошо. Осталось совсем чуть-чуть. И моя фора плюс 5 на АГФов зайдут. Левела очень хотят выиграть. Но они на самом деле действительно борются на рофлтуриках. Они действительно борются. Ну, ты про шахматы. Да не, я в шахматах не сильно. Я только знаю, какие ходы делают фигуры, и все. Я в шахматах слабенький.
It's because of the lvlUP on Halzerk. If they only had rifles, then maybe they would go for it, but risking your op just for a slim chance at a retake in a position where lvlUP have already established all those corners, they're already in position, just not the best of situations. So you'd rather take that lvlUP over to the next round and maybe see if you can get some outside control with it instead.
I mean, I honestly think they would have saved it regardless because of how bad.
Только что пришел со школы, 9 уроков было. Нифига себе, 9 уроков. Не слишком ли много они хотят 9 уроков? Может уже 19 сделают? Чтобы уже откинуться прям в школе и зачем возвращаться домой? Потом же следующий день можно опять учиться. Мне кажется, это что-то слишком. 9 штук. Перемена большая, час после 6 уроков. Плотновастенько, скажу так.
That's a very big if. And Necrogenesis, he's been tagged. Get right, will find him through the smoke. The spray is good, and Holzek on the backup position finds one, repositions, and he's got a great angle for the second as well. Suddenly, a difficult situation now looks doable.
Все равно, плотновастенько. По времени на учебе, конечно.
Has made noise as he moves in. He swings out, great shot, looks for more, but Impulse finds him instead. Still a 3v2 that's doable for the terrorist side, though.
Dignitas, they've gotten their foot through the door, but can they actually enter this room? Halzerk, he's bursting that door wide open, and it's just Impulse on the 1 versus 3. The bomb is dropped as well. There's only 40 seconds on the clock, and the position has been given up as well. Tries to spam through the hut. Flashbang fails, which means he just has to take the long way
Сороги,
around.
боритесь. Боритесь как львы.
Very careful about, so he can't maneuver his way
Как же им нужно победить?
Now Impulse is checking that corner, but it doesn't matter because Halzerk is there to pick up the kill. So Dignitas getting that round in that fashion, just not something.
Как же мне нужно поесть? Вот какой актуальный вопрос. Это, скорее всего, надо с хаты выходить. Вы поесть. Кто первый забрал? Да, это первая карта только. Только начало. Поэтому это, в принципе, вовремя. Если ты, конечно, хотел посмотреть этот матч, ты, в принципе, вовремя.
Two kills rather, if you hit your shot, and that's exactly what happens there. That's exactly the reason why Holzek is able to come out so aggressively on top. Forrest, can you find something through the smokes? No, you can't.
Хард гамбит, а что, до сих пор играешь, что ли, так долго? А, там они вровень, да, идут 11-11. Прям плотненько.
Gets smoked out. Necrogenesis, he's already gotten the bomb down, and a 4 versus 4 retake. I'll actually be quite surprised if Dignitas end up going for it entirely.
Много сегодня таких матчей.
Retake, they're going to be in the alternative даже и нет. To their economy. Dimke, he's about to be greeted by 3 as they come around. He has unpeaked, and now control has been given up. He's just trying to tap away, and with Impulse on the side as well.
Там только начало третьей карты.
This is where the money gets problematic.
Их тоже забанят, если включить.
This is Dignitas's map pick.
Да нет, не забанят.
I mean, the money's been problematic for a bit, but this is where the crescendo
Там тайминги уже другие.
tiers will
Но
come
я не
through.
хотел бы
Are
включать ту
forcing,
студию.
are they, or is it just Forest? Oh, I don't like this decision. Oh, very much to force.
Тут просто этот турик, он как раз идет
Because
матч за матчем, и очень удобно
I mean,
его стримить.
I get
Без
where you're
каких-либо
coming
пауз и
from.
так далее. То есть удобненько.
You're 13 and 12. You want to have a chance to finish it in one fell swoop, and you don't want to go to 13, 14 where a gun round is all that matters. And I know that, okay, yes, you can still get a buyout at 13, 14, but with Halsa going down initially, the good news is a lot of damage dealt, actually. So these Deagles can finish off some players, the CZs as well. The CZs back off initially.
Не, ну я хочу уже
The
досмотреть,
real problem is going to be
какой исход
Freiberg and
будет
his
этой
auto
карты.
shotgun. If he can come remotely close to some of these
Я
players,
отчасти
you're
за
looking at an
носорогов болею.
entirely different
Они ж
round.
слабее.
Get right. He's the other
А
one. His
победят
position is
хотят.
going to be hugely impactful. 55
Победить.
seconds left on the clock, and the more that they delay, the more that Dignitas has a chance to bring something together. But D's found a very important kill.
Но большие шансы на Инферно, я думаю.
Deagle, shotgun, and CZ's
На
actually
носорогов
enough to
тут
finish
тут
these
им
players off.
потяжелее,
The question
конечно.
is, are they going
Но
to
тем
be
не
able to
менее
do that?
цепляются.
It all just comes down to Freiberg being able to land his shots and get up close. Two players about to walk into him. There's a double peek. It's a little delayed, but Necrogenesis manages to save his life there. Get right on the top of heaven. Still comes down to a 1 versus 3. Forrest gets a little cocky with the
That's
Deagle, or at
13.
least a little
Ставчики.
desperate with it. But at the end of the day, that's 13 to
Душат.
13.
Душат старых.
And level up, they're starting to creep back into it. We said it before, we said it in the pregame that this was pretty much being set up for an upset from the level up side, and if they win nuke,
Старых.
I would go as far as to say that it's over.
А там, кстати, с деньгами, да, проблемы? О,
And
это типа 14
Again, it's
получается.
just one of those small
Потенциальный.
positional things, and I'm not going to say it's a mistake. It's just one of those what ifs that if Get Right was playing slightly closer so he could swing out from behind Freiberg, they would have won the round. Because what Level Up did was the cardinal sin of sending the bomb to heaven, because that's an unrecoverable spot for the bomb. If the bomb goes down and there's 40 seconds left, 30 seconds left, you're not winning that round. You have to, the only way to win that round at that point is if you boost up from on top of the hut, you boost onto rafters, your boosted player goes forward into heaven, doesn't die to a Deagle, and probably a CZ as well, which is around the corner.
Yeah, we've already expired 40 seconds at this point.
Yeah, it's just not happening. But unfortunately, neither is a buy from Dignitas.
Their last-ditch effort, their gambit to try to go for that auto shotgun play, it ends up not working out for them, and now they're in between a rock and a hard place with regards to their economy. D has been really good with getting picks early with the AWP, and his conservative positioning has worked out for him. AVN holding the flank now. Level Up slowly taking control of outside as the utility is thrown out. Necrogenesis is the first man in. Level Up still playing this quite carefully.
One thing I will say is that Dignitas would not have had a buy in this round regardless.
Сейчас я быстренько по телефону отвечу и
maybe a little bit of extra money,
скажу.
but this next round is still not going to be a great buy from them. I think this is a $2,400 loss bonus, if I'm not mistaken, and Freiberg is massively helped out by the fact that he got $900 extra, and that actually makes a big difference to their economy, but it's still risky, and they need to get these kills just for the money's sake, and it's a great stack they have, and Necrogenesis is going to move into it. Get Right found one. Impulse knows there's a stack, but he'll still peek into it. He wants those eco frags, and he has found them. Forrest in a 1 versus 4. He's the one with the least economy. He's the one who needed the money the most, and he will not be able to find anything. So Forrest on 4,400 is now not going to have utility. He's not going to have a Molotov.
It's a little heartbreaking to see that Dignitas, even though they have very good setups at times, they're just unable to land the shots, and that is really starting to show up on the scoreboard. And on the other hand, Level Up, they've been hitting shots left and right. They've had really good individual performances, I would say. Let's see if they can push that through to the finish line, though.
Even tactically, the defaults Level Up have been running are really good. lvlUP has consistently found outside control, but not just towards secret, also towards garage, also towards locker rooms. They're constantly denying information. They're playing really well for a team that's not very good on nuke. I'm pleasantly surprised, and Dimk's gone in very quickly. He's surprising, exists very unpleasantly, keeps on going. Frybeg is down, and the players on Evan have been mollied off. This is the immediate turnaround save call from Dignitas. They now have to fight for overtime. This was their 90% win rate map.
Look at the money on lvlUP as well. They're definitely going to go for the hunt, which will make it that much harder for Dignitas to bring something back in the next round. 2 players saving towards CT spawn. One of them is isolated, so he could find himself losing that weapon. That last round will be so dicey for the CT side. Dignitas, this is the map they needed to win because lvlUP, they had such a good veto. Balzerk still trying to hold on to that sniper rifle because that will be the difference maker. Little one-way smoke for him. I like that. I like that detail, to be honest.
Yeah.
Who figures out a one-way smoke in CT spot? Come on.
I know how that happens. You're trying to throw a smoke at your teammate and dink them with a smoke, and it accidentally gives you a one-way. Yeah, probably not. But, I mean, obviously, elevation always makes a one-way. But Dimk with these 2 entries, man, huge stuff from him. Exists to go down initially, and then Frybeg just not feeling comfortable and actually peeking up because he thought his players from Heaven would be there to support in a timely fashion. Maybe with the flashbang, something on those lines, he peeks out, gets a kill or so, makes them competitive, but still competition is not over yet. Dignitas have one more chance to try and make a break for 14, to try and make a break for overtime, to try and bring it all together, and it'll come off the back of aggressive plays.
Так, я тут. Я поговорил по телефону. Что вы пишете? Обычный матч гамбиты. Понял. Кстати, думаешь, игроки все в курсе были, что тренер читерил? Ну, конечно, в курсе. 100% соучастники. Походу, очередной лоу-кэп заходит. 4.35 был. Это ты имеешь в виду победа лвлUP на первой карте? Я правильно понял? Это ты имеешь в виду? А у меня, кстати, зашла фора плюс 5.5 на АГФ. Они уже 12 раундов взяли. Изи фора, так сказать. Я тоже какую-то мелочушку уже приумножил. Твои 100 рублей. Но круто, если они, конечно, цепанутся, что скорее всего, да? Хороший риск, оправдан риск. Ой-ой-ой, как же на тоненьком. А там АГФы как бы давят. Слушайте, сегодня сенсаций, ну, точнее не сенсаций, а правильных решений на победу либо фор андердогов. Очень-очень даже неплохо, да? Я немножко не понял по поводу 4.35. Скорее всего, это победа на этой карте, да?
Obvious than what his numbers suggest, because a lot of AVN's impact was actually in the 1v4 situations that he found himself in Dignitas' rounds where they were keeping only 2 players alive. AVN actually did damage then. Those were the rounds where he was going crazy. So although you're not going to see him actually coming up and lighting up the scoreboard early on in a round, his impact so far has not been negligible. But now it's all up to lvlUP. Can they close it out when you've got the oldest...
Ого, так ты это что? Это ты в лайве взял, когда они проигрывали, что возьмут первую карту?
This is the test for them. Holzer on the AWP, the only young blood on this team, will try to monopolize outside, but it is an outside take setup to come through and deny him any options. How does he react? How does he make a play? Dignitas, their utility is limited, and the T side are limited only by the shots they will or will not land.
Balzerk, he sends that through the smoke. Perfect timing from him. And that could just be the difference maker. Impulse is tagged up heavily as well. Get right.
Ой-ой, ребятки, неужели вы это отдадите? Вы же так были рядом. Было бы, конечно, sensation. 90% не оправдывается.
Dignitas. Can they deliver off the back of their youngster? Can they finish what he has started and take it to overtime? Dimk doesn't want to let that be an option. Freiburg, the only one really in a position to stop this bomb from being planted, and with the clock ticking down as fast as it is, smokes come out for glass, Molly's out behind the site, T's are penetrating in. Freiburg and company waiting. Horzak trying to find the flanker, the lurker, but Horzak's own positioning is delayed because the bomb should go down. It is safe, but the T's are not. It's a 3v5. Horzak with 2 kills so far, but the T's post-spawn situations are good. And there's not any Molotovs available to force them out of these angles. How are
Конечно, расчет на то, что они все в позиции, и, в принципе, можно при удачном тайминге сыграть. Но это было красиво. Но тут количеством заберут. Количеством берут, да. И ты есть, все хорошо. Не, я таким не занимаюсь, я не переключаюсь с трансляции на трансляцию. Это ненормально. Плацать туда-сюда. У меня как бы описание стоит к стриму. Так а зачем мне включать, если ты можешь это смотреть и так параллельно? В чем смысл, я не пойму. В чем-то смысл. А что там, допы? Что там? Что там за жара? Допецкий там?
It's like, yeah, you know what? We're going to do everything right. We're literally going to do it picture perfect tonight, any op presence. And he shoots 2 of us through the smoke.
14-4. Я думал, там 15-15 доп. У всех своя жара, что поделаешь. Жара, жара. Вот у нас тут жара. Тут АГФы. Ой, какие ГФы? Тут носороги на грани, блин. От уничтожения статистики такой красивый у Dignitas. В первую очередь. Если они нарушат эту статистику, то будет прикольненько.
Oh no, Dimk and D are able to tag down Forest. Bring him apart. Flashbang goes in deep. They're trying to
мибры там плотненько, да, отыгрывают? Ой, если мибры, конечно, зальют 2-0, это будет приколюшка.
Heaven underneath lock and key, and then he has to trust his teammates, but his teammates have let him down. Get right and Exist will not, though. Flashbang to go forward. Exist is not able to do enough, but what is it with these kills through smokes, man? What is it with these kills through smokes? They just keep happening. D's in a 1v3, 15 seconds, no chance whatsoever, and Exist will finish him off.
Жара, жара.
А
суши хочется. Я сильно суши не люблю, но иногда есть такое, да? Я же не один такой, который так бац, и суши, и все, хоть убей. Чёных каких-нибудь. Ты вчера Астралис стримил? Ты суши есть? Я прям почувствовал, что ты суши ешь. Астралисов я позавчера стримил. Вчера я не стримил, потому что я ж делал объявление. Но ты у меня был на стриме, да, я ж помню. Я же уже делал объявление, что банят уже за ESL. Блин, прикольно тебе, ты суши, если я тоже хочу покушать. Я бы сейчас с удовольствием. С удовольствием бы покушал. Так он курить, по-моему, пошел. Как же шейка уже поднадоело. Он курить, по-моему, пошел. Слушайте, моя фора зашла, можете меня поздравить. Я приумножил свои 100 рублей. Фора плюс 5,5 на второй карте на АГФ. Я как бы допускал, что спруты плохо вертига играют, но они как бы сейчас еще и проиграть его могут. Камбэк идет, да? Это они должны забирать без каких-либо проблем и без камбэков. Раз уж на то пошло. Да, прикольно.
Dignitas already having used quite a bit of their utility, but of course, that double up changes things significantly.
Блин, я тут так хочу, чтобы носороги выиграли, конечно. Это будет прикольненько. Курить хазил, кофе наливал. Так я всем и говорил. При хостовом раунде и фора это одно и то же. Хостовом в раунде. Фора. Немножко не понял. Если у тебя фора, то тебе главное, чтобы эта фора плюсовалась до 16 раунда, если твои проигрывают. На 16. Роги, давайте, покажите класс. Сделайте человеку 12 коэффициентик. Танза, а у тебя что, хорошая проходимость на рофлатуриках? Говори честно. Открывай все карты. Просто понимаю ваш язык ставок. Да я тоже это все не понимал. Там буквально чуть-чуть разобраться, и все вполне ясно становится. Ставлю не ради денег, ставлю ради удовольствия. Причем на повышенные кэфы, да? И все это превращается в деньги. Как это странно не звучит. Все удовольствие превращается еще и в денежное приумножение. Игры проиграли, кэф 23. Нет, там же еще идет матч, да? Ты поставил при счете 4-11 на сингулярите, что ли? Я правильно понял? Или я неправильно понял? Чтобы они не радовались раньше времени. 13 минут.
Oh yeah, very awkward end the round. But what I do quite like.
Блин, знать бы, конечно, все исходы, да. Было бы поприкольней.
Seed impulse, try and get anything done at. I don't think he got aggressive towards outside a single time in regulation, and I don't remember if he went for
на ликвидах поднял. А я вчера же стримил, я вчера даже не смотрел. Я даже не знаю, какой там был исход, если честно. Реально не знаю исход. Там был матч со столарами, расскажите мне. Я все равно пока не смотрю ЛТВ. Можете рассказать, что там произошло? Это... Они типа летели, и ты поставил на камбэк?
I like that play from him, but obviously at the very end of it all, it is AVN and Necrogenesis with a really good hold on the A-bomb site initially that allows them to even get to the 2v2 situation.
Хотел сразу залить, но очканул, поставил на сигов, так, чтобы не жалко было выиграть или проиграть. Ну, это норм. Мелочушку на андердогов — это хорошо. Либо в такой ситуации, когда они крайне сильно летят. Кони 100 евро, первая карта 16-3, 100 евро выиграли. 16-3? Пары закрыли Ликода 16-3? Ой, извиняюсь. Это не слишком агрессивно 16-3? А что это за карта была? 16-13 для мебров. Держатся, да, пацаны? На Вертига?
Can break everything down in overtime.
Фига себе. А как это произошло, ребята? Вы смотрели же этот матч, правильно? А как они отлетели так ликвид? Они ж катали хорошо. Вертига. А, Вертига 16-3 кони проиграли.
I mean, in all fairness, in
overtime, I don't know if he's had
overtime. Sorry, in the second half of overtime. So his teammates have done something.
Ну, счет как бы вообще ужас.
They've lost that, so I guess you're not entirely wrong. It should be interesting though when we're considering it all together. What I do like though, and I will quickly point this out, is Get Right is.
И какой был кэф?
Get Right has 26 kills as well.
А как вы могли поставить вообще? Они типа первые раунды взяли, вы потом чпок, поставлю я на столаров, и они в итоге в ряд 16 раундов взяли. Так это работает, что ли?
But when you've seen 34 rounds having taken place, and Forrest is sitting on just 24 kills, it's not like he is the savior that everyone sometimes paints him out to be. Forrest is not playing like a lights out performer, and quite frankly, I think Bubble.
Ну, сильно, чем могу сказать, красиво.
Now, is he still a really good player? Yes, absolutely. Is he a star player who can probably contend against top 10 teams like some people paint him out to be? Probably not yet, but could get back up there.
15-9 нью кони выиграли, и третья карта была 16-14 в рэкомбэк. Допы и мы домой поедут. Все хотят выпетриться кэфом. Макс 7. Не, у меня ординар есть на Апексах, по-моему, на 7 тоже. Даже я в группе его публиковал у себя. Сейчас я скажу. 7.50. Это была ситуация такая. Dignitas выиграли первую карту секретов. И я потом поставил на общую победу секретов 7.50 кэф. Оправдался.
I mean, if playing Counter-Strike makes me a nerd, just sign me up. I honestly don't mind.
Оправдался. 7.50. Но это тоже один из самых больших.
However, we are going to be jacked up on this game very soon. lvlUP have done a fantastic job so far of keeping themselves in this game. It's their city side. It is overtime. It's their second chance. Can they finish what they started? Impulse and D have gone for the double AWP.
This is very similar to what we saw from the Dignitas side, to pick up the double AWP, because
очень много матчей параллельных, да, которыми хотелось бы, конечно, посмотреть. А в конечном итоге мы, блин, реально не успеваем все смотреть. Как бы интересненько, согласен. Так, где мой второй телефон? Сейчас, сек.
every round that they've played on the T side, Dimk, he's just trying to get audio information in this case, but Dignitas will be walking all the way to Secret instead. And this is the change of pace here is the fact that Dignitas is fully committed this time around. Generally what they do is just send 1 or 2 players to deny information and to push back the CTs, but this time this should be a full-blown commitment because the bomb is there, there's 4 players there, and there's just 1 player that is hanging back to potentially catch out the flank on Secret.
AVN. Oh, that flashbang will not really matter as he is just going to scout out some players, back off, try and take the duel. Freiburg, however, has been great on entries on the T side, but D is coming in with 2 quick kills on the AWP. Holzek feeling a bit left out at this point as an impulse comes in as well. These orbs are so mobile, they're so good, and they've left Holzek alone in a 1v3. Big from either side. D with a 3k finishes it off and gives level up map point yet again.
I really like the individual positioning from D because he plays that position in a way where he isolates the players that are inside the door, or at least halfway out of it. This allows him to get AWP picks without actually having to ever contest Halzerk, and that's what happened. Halzerk was left lonely in the entirety of that round. He wasn't even invited to the AWP party.
Yep. And I think that's one of the big marks of how good you are as a lower level AWP. And by lower level, I mean, listen, guys, say what you want. D is not Holzak. He's very good. He's very, very good. But there's a reason why players like Cadian, who are objectively worse AWPers than their tier 1 AWPers, are still able to get so much done. There is an art to avoiding the other AWPer.
Мибры летят, как же сингулярити съезжает. При 70% заберут эту карту и привлекают следующие. Слушайте, тут как бы левелап 18 взял. Как бы тут 2-0 не было, следующее же Инферно. Что вы думаете? Там же Инферно, правильно, следующее? Какие мысли? Сороги-то Инферно, насколько я помню, хороши. 2-0 не будет, думаешь?
Yes, Exist is weak, but with how good Freiburg has been on his entries, that's still giving Exist a role to fulfill, which is to be able to swing out for the secondary trade. If Freiburg just gets some damage, you're good to go with as Exist, even with 14 HP. And the CT side, they have to be careful about the get right luck.
Блин, а я что-то верю уже. Ну, если, конечно, они эту заберут.
At this stage, a minute left on the clock. Get right. This is huge from him. Finds and eliminates Necrogenesis. Looks for the second.
3-4. Но они уже в позиции занимают.
It's a 3v4 to decide the fate of the CTs. Can they take it away? Can level up finish it all out over here?
He has found himself here before. Can he get picks off of this? He has information on 1 player, which is the planter. Freiburg. He is unable to find anything just
как бы тут преимущество, и они в позиции. Как же это будет тяжело. Первый красный идут. Вау. Фрайбург промо. А зачем Халзерк начинает быковать? Ну ладно, пойдет. Ну нет, все-таки. Еще посмотрим.
How does Dignitas keep bringing it back?
I mean, how does Dignitas in the situation? They have a 90%
Спасибо.
win rate on Nuke. Nuke was supposed to be the shoe-in. Nuke was supposed to be the gimme. Nuke was supposed to be the level up.
Бомбиты 18-16. Капец, что происходит? Одни допы вокруг.
Kept rolling, suddenly popped up, brought out a gun, and told me that they're a secret service officer who's just here to dominate. And that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what I think secret service officers do. They just keep rolling, and then suddenly pull out a gun.
Yeah, they're just sitting there playing Counter-Strike and stuff. Yeah, gotcha.
18-18 though, and things couldn't be more tense. Forrest, he sees a CT player who's gone towards outside, but it's a game of chicken, and who will clock?
Apparently not Forrest just yet, but that smoke confuses him quite a bit. Dimk ends up coming out on top, but Forrest He's able to get the refrag, a 4-on-4. Dignitas, they've gotten the opening that they needed, but at the expense of Freiburg, who's been phenomenal at getting those bomb sites to open up. D is spotted out, Get Right gets another kill, and D has to try to hold down the line all alone. Holdrick is coming in hot, he misses a shot. That means that he can get tagged down quite heavily, but eventually the kill will go the way of Exist. AVN, last man standing on the B site, trying to stop them from coming through, but instead it's Necrogenesis all the way over towards A, who ends up falling. AVN, now he knows that the T's don't need to commit to B anymore, and the bomb will be going down at A.
Ooh, that's a nice little camera angle. I will say this, I love how good Dignitas has been on entries. They really have been fantastic. Yes, this one wasn't quite an entry. DMK had already found a kill and he gets traded. But when Get Right goes in to the ramp and he finds that kill, it's beautiful. Dignitas still almost lose that round because Holzak misses his shot. The only reason why they're actually able to come through with that is due to AVN missing a few bullets.
Капец, не могу найти свой телефон, хоть убейте. Уже 5 минут. Стал на общую победу Dignitas и вторую карту от lvlUP. Ну, хороший выбор. 3 косаря выиграю, если обе зайдут. Понял. Пойдет. Ставочка пойдет. Ссорятся пацаны 18-15 мембров, походу слились в сингулярити. Но были рядом.
DMK's position could be pivotal because of all the audio information
Это нельзя было плохого
букмекера. Dignitas has always kept a level
Никто не кричал, все нормально. Букмекер на месте. Каких замечаний не поступало. Все хорошо. Так, ну как я понял, по звукам все нормально, да? Где люди? Можно, пожалуйста, онлайна подкинуть? Просто 3 человека. Ладно, 4. Овощи. Такого никогда в жизни не было, так что все плохо. Посмотрим, как будет с вебкой. Ладно, я, короче, буду искать дальше свой телефон и не понять, куда он делся.
He's trying to lurk in, he's trying to play Get Right, but Necrogenesis has played him instead. 4v3, Molotov still in heaven, 30 seconds, Dignitas. How do you play this? Where do you go? Forrest has to step up. Impulse takes away Holzek. Necro as well. Swings out. Freiburg, with everything on the line, is caught off and sent off as well. And it all comes from the initial kill that they're able to find on Get Right that completely secures lobby control. You could see no one needed to check their backlines. They knew exactly what was going on.
Man. 19-19, lvlUP, played that to perfection. The ability to recognize them coming through heaven and denied early on. Necrogenesis, his aggression was perfect in that regard, and if they can keep having that kind of play come through, that can be the difference maker. And right now, Dignitas' success in this series is hinging on whether or not they can take Nuke, because the veto is so favorable for lvlUP. Commitment on Secret. Time and time again, we see this play come through. Can Impulse hold down the line in this regard?
Impulse is waiting for them to come through around the corner. Necrogenesis on the bomb side itself, but Dignitas, how are they going to play this? Freiburg is going to try and get the entry. He's been so good on them so far. Will this be the one? No, it's not. Impulse re-peeks out. Great flick. And Necro to provide the backup. Holzek's left at a 1v4. He does find one, but there's 3 more to go. The shot's been missed. Not the second, though. Never twice over. Holzek has isolated some duels potentially, but with the vents being mollied off, he's just going to go for the bomb plant directly. He knows there is not going to be anyone coming in from decontamination. He's given himself a chance. Holzek, it was a 1v4. Impulse had dominated them. But can he bring it all together? Holzek, he's waiting for this. He knows their positioning as well, but a smoke is not available for the CT side. Kits are, yes, but the doors are also open. Holzek can just swing out. Holzek's got the first. Holzek's got the second. It's a 1v4. Holzak keeps them in the lead.
How is he allowed to get away with that, to allow himself to get a chance there in a 1 versus 2? He played that to perfection and is able to go all the way around to double doors, and even though they were aware that he's there, it just didn't end up materializing for them. Dignitas get the lead. And this is where it gets really dicey for Level Up. That is a round that Dignitas had no business taking through, and that's where the star power of Halzerk is starting to materialize. You're seeing him on 40 kills, and there's no better time to see it. This is where Dignitas were getting quite desperate, but now that they're on the CT side, that is really where Halzerk can truly shine on outside. And Level Up, they find themselves on the back burner.
Level Up, they've done everything they can, but sometimes a man is just not mortal.
Демо телефон. Да, вы делим мой телефон.
That's just a failed smoke. Nothing else.
Давайте, признавайтесь, где мой телефон? Я уже его ищу. Весь нюк. Я не могу посмотреть нюк, потому что я не могу найти телефон.
But
Это за издевательство такое.
get right on ramp and might be assaulted soon enough. They're coming through. Molotov comes out to keep them at bay. But
Я реально устал его
the
искать.
T's are not in a rush this
А
time.
нюк
The
до сих пор
T's
идет.
want to play things a bit more slowly.
Exist. His position is going to be pivotal because he's the only aggressor here. Dignitas have done this before, but that was with the assistance of Freiburg. But now, because they're a little worried about B, they still have him go down the vent. Level Up. I really like this coming out from them. They haven't given up any audio cues towards ramp. They're slowly getting in there without allowing Halzerk to have any idea of what's coming through, but get right in Freiburg. They're ready for it. That's the reason Freiburg was rotated through. And let's see if they start to hit their shots as this execute starts to come in.
They've got Dimcase down the first. He's been great on entries, and Necro adds one more to the tally. Bomb will go down comfortably, and it's a 5v3. But Halzerk, he's been absolutely fire, and he is still alive and burning. Exist around decontamination, spraying away. D's dead already. You didn't even get to see him. And Forrest, he's trying to fight back. Exist will finally fall. Forrest comes through with one, knows where the second player is as well, but he has to connect with Dimke, and he does so. Necro Genesis suddenly in a 1v2 from a 3v5. Now, can he finish it off? Halzerk's just stuck it. This man he's just too good. He's just too good. He even kills him in the end. He's just too good.
Yeah. Pros don't fake. Even ends up taking the cake at the end. But I don't think that's going to matter too much because, of course, that's the T side money. Well, that's the overtime money, rather.
It's like overtime and T side.
I accidentally said T side rather than overtime. But yeah, I think everybody's swimming in piles of gold at the moment. Dignitas, they have gotten 2 rounds, which they had no business getting, even though Level Up played that to perfection. It's come down to the last wire for Level Up. They have to try to deny this and take it to triple overtime. Impulse contesting Halzerk, but Halzerk is winning this contest. D is already low on HP. AVN will join that queue as he also drops below 50. Halzerk yet to take a bullet. Flashbang will knock him out of position, but he's there for the repeat. He's given up his position already. But the T's are so heavily tagged that it'll be very difficult for them to allow themselves any mobility over towards outside. Halzerk, however, he's reading this perfectly. He's backing off. He's allowing Freiburg and Forrest to take charge of the driving wheel, or rather the driver's seat. And this should be it for Level Up. Dignitas on the verge of 22.
Так, ну что, ребятки, ГГ, да? К сожалению. Блин, Сорогов, но попытка действительно хорошая. А вот у меня ничего не получилось. Я телефон таки не нашел. Ой-ой.
40 seconds on this clock, and like you said, time is ticking away,
No,
and it's not the
попытка
old
действительно
timers who are
хорошая.
worried about it. It is the young blood on the scene. Level Up have found themselves at 2 map points, but not been able to close out. Dignitas might be able to do it just there first. Forrest waits for the beat to come in. Exist has got one good shot into AVN as well to put him down to 8 HP. AVN now has to bring it together in a 1v2 without HP, without time. Bomb is going to be planted, yes, and he knows where they are positioned, yes. AVN, though, looking for something, looking for a miracle, searching, praying, hoping, but there is no hope. There is only Holzak. Dignitas will win out their map pick.
I cannot believe that Dignitas were able to piece that together and win that in double overtime. They
Nice
had
try,
no
так
business
сказать.
winning
Но у
2 or
них
3
еще
of
есть
those
шанс
rounds with
зацепиться
level
за
up with the
Инферно.
advantage. So it's a little
Инферно у
heartbreaking for
носорогов
level up,
действительно
but for
будет
Dignitas, this is a
посимпатичнее, чем
saving
Нюк.
grace because there was no way
И с учетом того, что
they
они
were
хорошо
losing
сыграли
a
Нюк,
map that they
наверное,
had
они
a
все-таки
90%
Инферно
win
додавят.
rate on, and that was pretty much what they were banking on.
And with that, the question is, can they win out on Inferno, which is going to be level up's map pick? We'll be back with that in just a bit. Stay tuned for some fantastic action.
Но молодцы. Достойное было противостояние. Только вот телефон я не нашел, блин. Ну, возможно, ты прям четенько разложил картечки. Можно, ты действительно сделал все правильно. Я как бы тоже думаю, что как минимум Инферно должны забирать товарищи носороги.
And contain them until extraction vehicle arrives. Witnesses are irrelevant. Leave them unharmed if you can. End of a transmission.
А что там, получился невероятный коэффициентик на все эти события? Еще Форс 2.0. Кстати, Форза мы точно будем смотреть. Думаешь, что шеры даже не зацепятся, да, за карту? Угу, понял тебя, понял. Ну ладно, пока, короче, переменка. Я попробую еще раз найти свой телефон. Тупо весь нюк искал телефон. Нормально стримим. Короче, ладно, еще есть время. Да нет, он на режиме полета. В том-то и дело. Не все так просто, видишь. В режиме полета хрен ты его найдешь. Ну ладно, короче, пошел я дальше. По шкафам смотреть.
got him these close angles. That being said, Halzerk is making a dent of his own. Impulse 1 versus 3, and with this Glock, can he get something done? It got so close, but it just doesn't come through, and Freiburg comfortably gets the defuse as well. I really like how we paused with his Glock for a bit, because like, okay, they're missing their shots. This is my time to shine.
Yeah, because like if they've missed their first 4 USB shots and they're spamming, all right, let's go, let's do this. He almost clutches it out as well. Impulse, really good attempt from him, and that attempt will net him an AK-47 and a smoke. So now they have 3 AKs and 3 smokes, and actually Avian has full utility. Oh, whoa, they have 2 players with full utility. Okay.
I really like that. That gives him so much more mobility, and this practically makes it a gun round.
Yeah.
It's just Necrogenesis and D who are going to find themselves on the short end of the stick, because of course they have dropped AKs. They've only been able to get Deagles. That being said, the Deagles can be very deadly in the hands of some of these players, and lvlUP has had a very good day with regards to their aim. Let's see if that can carry over into Inferno. Of course, lvlUP, they had a pretty good veto. Dignitas winning their expected map, and even that came so close. Let's see if lvlUP can close it out on the second, well, at least on the third map, actually. Not bad. Of course, they're not closing down in the second.
Maybe they can close down the second, though. And it is a requirement for them at this stage. Of course, this is the Swiss stage, so neither team will be eliminated, even if they lose at this point. But these teams are fighting to reach 3 wins first and foremost. Flashbang's ready from get, right? This is going to be a deep one for Freiburg to peek through. Freiburg should be expecting it to come over any minute now, and there you go, a firing range, and he's found 3. 4 versus 2, Get Right's got a UMP, and these players have got AKs, sure, but
Кто-то остался выживший?
Get Right comes in, gets some cheddar. Now it's a 1v4.
Или выживших здесь нет?
Two better than last, and it is not going to happen. Now Flashbang is great.
That's the power of one.
Так, они проиграли оружеечку, да? А, все понял. Они проиграли первый раунд с поставленной бомбой, форсанули и форс проиграли, да? Ну, походу, 3-0 сейчас будет. Видимости.
And Freiburg shows us exactly how. lvlUP, on the other hand, because they were force buying in the previous round, and it didn't exactly go their way by any stretch of the imagination. It means that now they'll be knocked down and they'll be
такое себе для носорогов.
Just have a few deagles to work with.
I know it's early days, but I like how Dignitas is set up. I don't really know what their win rate is all about. I'm actually going to take a look at the teams that they've gone up against and when it was, because they have a 26.6% win rate across 7
Мибры
maps.
4-0 ведут Singularity, Атаксы и наш майн.
That was a really good Inferno team.
Oh yeah.
Espada's pretty good as well. Secrets is surprising, but then there's so there's 2 losses to Forza in there, and Holzak, you know, he's getting eco frag, so I can talk about this. There's 2 losses to Forza, which are very forgivable, but even so, Dignitas are looking good, and their aim as well. I know the tank are ecos, but we saw them losing so many weapons on nuke on their CT side that I've come to expect a few more losses, and a 5-1
за атаку
is a very
набирать
pleasant
надо,
sight for me.
а не лететь вот так вот.
Winning out on nuke,
Как бы начало, естественно.
after what we saw, that definitely boosts the morale of Dignitas quite a bit. And of course, it also knocks down the morale of lvlUP significantly, because that was a map they should have won the way they had been playing. It was just a few clutches going the way of the Dignitas players. And of course, that beautiful clutch from Halzerk, he was never in a million years supposed to get. But that's how Halzerk is. He plays those odds, and he somehow ends up winning them. lvlUP.
I hate the game not
Ой,
to play.
как же красиво сыграно.
Really might have some hate to let through. Beautiful one.
Причем вообще без шансов. Вырублен молодой человек.
And at this point, in a 4v5, now Dignitas truly gets tested. I've said I've liked how they're playing so far. Can they keep it going? Exists, beautiful kill. Second comes through, looking for 3. D's reveal himself. Exists moves back
Простенько,
into a
слишком
smoke,
простенько.
directly into the corner. Has to smoke it off. Forest from inside the site connects with Necrogenesis. Exists is still battering away at their mines. making sure that they can't feel secure taking a duel against Forest. And with that, Forest has also revealed D's position. Freiburg will trade his life away. And a 4v5 very, very well executed from the CT side.
And I have to point out the position that Exist was playing, because generally what a lot of players do is they'll either play to the left side of the pit or they'll play it very deep. But when you're that up close, it forces the T's to have to come out all the way and look downwards, which allows the player on the side to be able to assist you all that much better. And Forest, of course, was able to capitalize on that heavily. And for a second there, you even saw that because of the smoke, Impulse thought that Exist would be towards mini pit because he was playing that close spot, but that one piece of misinformation was good enough for Forest to be able to pick up 2 kills and isolate duels effectively. Now, level up. Weaponry disadvantage, of course, because they ended up losing their first gun round, and Dignitas is definitely making a mark on the scoreboard, leading 4-0.
Smoker's at the short. Exist is waiting for the apartments player, but it's AVN who's going to be delayed. Exist has dodged all the grenades, but he's only good for 1 kill, and 3 from the T side means a swift monopolization of the site, and Dignitas finally might be forced to save their guns. Their money is decent, but they wanted to stay that way realistically. And a great execution from level up. Sure, Exist doesn't actually get a chance to... Exist doesn't actually get naded down by their utility, but what that utility does also do is it keeps him away from pit, so he can't do anything about the duels being taken directly with the players on site. So really good job.
So that position that Exist was playing there, it immediately in 2 consecutive rounds, it showed how it was a double-edged sword, because sure, if you're up against rifles, then it makes sense because the duels will be much slower. But up against Tech 9s that are rushing you with a few pieces of utility, a flashbang here and there, it's very hard to contest it when they're flying out with weapons that are much better when you're running and gunning as opposed to rifles. Level up, first round on the board, sloppily put together, but of course, when you have no weaponry, that's the best you can hope for. Dignitas taking quite a hit to their economy, but they're not out of it just yet.
It is going to be D going for the peak initially. Forest has been eliminated. And Olzak, been a bit of a quieter game for him so far.
You said that on Nuke, and then look what happened.
I know. I'm trying to bring out Cthulhu. You know, just bring out the Kraken, make him feast.
Unfortunately, you saying it on cast is the equivalent of poking the water with a stick and hoping that Cthulhu comes out.
That's true, actually. I've done that. But anyhow, enough about how I tried to have Cthulhu take over my school. It didn't work.
Freiburg. See if level up can make it work, though.
Freiburg's in a very, very pivotal position, but what I like is he's ready to rotate away at the drop of a pin. Impulse is going to be faced up against a very aggressive defense coming through. Brackets exist, and Get Right coming in. 3 kills already, and now it's a 4 versus 2. Molotovs have been smoked off. Sure, Exist does fall, but D has pulled out a Tech 9 and has gotten aggressive with an AWP on his back. Holzek to put in the alley-oop, get the last dunk in. 5-1. What a spray down from Get Right. 9-1 from him right now, by the way.
Yeah, they've been playing brackets very well. And even though Dignitas haven't had
что-то завтыкало монитор.
because they always get denied early on. Other than that, Dignitas
Кстати, там
has been looking
слили
quite good.
F5 сейчас сольют.
Level up, of course, even though they're on the T side, and now they're going to start to get a little desperate for rounds.
Я немножко, если честно, ожидал другого старта от Level Up. 5-1. Что-то как-то для старта за атаку, тем более. Ладно, там если они за защиту были. Что-то как-то, блин, можно даже поднапрячься. Да? Это как-то прям слабенько. Нужно цепляться в этот раунд. Прям... Уже надо это делать. В противном случае как бы не догонят.
I think they're expecting a faster play, and this is this kind of passivity might work out for them in that regard, but now the T's are... Oh, quick little flashbang. Forrest hasn't peeked out with a flash just yet. He's swinging out dry, and that duel ends up working out for him regardless.
Хоть такой размен, промах. Это шанс.
But it's Hallzerg that misses a shot, and there's a flashbang. AVN comes through from behind. Exist is unable
Калаш
to protect his
почему
teammates. Smoke to allow him a bit
в горб
of runway,
засунул?
and that will also deny the Molotov.
Видимо, минус баф. Да не, нельзя так рано. Еще только начало, но просто начало плохое. Видишь, красиво разыграли ситуацию патовую. Как бы могут. Просто, конечно, начало не очень. Тут очень сильно повезло, что Халзер с авика промахнулся. Там 20 пикал. Пиццы? Блин, да я бы тоже не отказался, если честно. От пиццульки. С мяском, с сыром, с грибочками и помидорчиками. Ай-яй. По-моему, более чем вкусно. Или они форсят? Хоть какую-то экономику выбили. Пора выходить вперед теперь. Выйти вперед надо хотя бы третий взять. Я если выиграю, захожу себе. Хорошая мотивация, только пацаны об этом не знают. Если пацаны знали, на что стоит, как бы, вся серьезность этого матча. Может быть, они и начали получше.
I'm not sure if they're trying to fake off as if they're on an eco round, but Freiburg is an M4.
Ой, Фрайберг что-то немножко завтыкал. Да, тут сейвить надо. Один кольт хотя бы. Плюс 2 армора.
That's so odd. Maybe Get Right just doesn't feel like he has enough money also to be able to buy up an AWP later on. Maybe they're run some numbers, but just generally a fairly strange.
One flashbang could have changed that entirely. For Get Right to have a flashbang, Freiburg would have a much more favorable deal than it could.
Это же сильная сторона на Инферно? Ну, по-моему, нет.
Because you saw there that Get Right had enough time.
Сильная сторона — это атака, как по мне.
Wasn't the best of positions to
Observer,
be in.
can we actually get a replay of that like quick USP play that Get Right tried to make? I want to check something because if I'm not wrong, I think Level Up had a player playing anti-flash, so that would be nice to see that adjustment come through, even if it's a very small adjustment, because then even if Freiburg was the one although there would have obviously been a much higher chance of him cleaning players up, there would have definitely been, at the very least, you know, hope. If you're buying up, so we're gonna see this. So I think the player, I think Necrogenesis was actually playing anti-flash.
Towards the logs, right?
Yeah. Oh. No. Okay.
Да, красиво было сыграно.
So it's Dimcated takes him down. Necrogenesis also wasn't flashed up. So even so, I think with an M4, there was still obviously a bigger chance. But at the end of the day, I have to point out, Level Up set up their banana.
Не устал? Так я, видишь, периодически же отхожу. Своими делами занимаюсь. Я вот сейчас только сел. Ну, вообще, в общем, как бы, конечно. Не без этого. Нет, телефон я таки не нашел. Я не знаю, что это за приколюшка такая. Телефон я не нашел.
Force has a flashbang.
Yeah. 4 players on the A-bomb side, they've gone for a much more traditional stack this time. Level Up, however, they're just defaulting, and I love this. I love that they're not expending any of their smokes early on. I love that their flashbangs are largely unused as well. Let the CTs make a play and punish them for it. Get Right gets into Boiler and he goes down because of it. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
MK, he's about to have 4. Oh, never mind. Just backs off. So Dignitas they're still playing it very conservatively. They didn't go for a push or anything because they were hoping, they were banking on the level of players coming towards A, but that is not the case. Instead, their final destination will be B. And it's going to be nothing like the movies, except if you're looking at it from the perspective of the CT side, because it should be a pretty comfortable take for a level up to get into the B site.
AVN playing around the corner as he moves forward. Holzer's found the first kill. Freiberg does add another. And all these players do have Kevlar, so there are some possibilities opened up, but at the same time, do you want to waste Kevlar potentially when your economy is going to be floundering, level up's going to be closer and closer towards that 5-4 mark, and then, you know, it's the evening up scoreline. So all things considered, Dignitas will save, and I like this decision because this gives them 2 buys now. If these players are allowed to save, the money that they will have additional in the next round means that in a 5-5 round, should it actually come to materialize, Dignitas can still buy. Maybe not an AWP, but they can still buy for sure.
Oh yeah, AWP is not coming through anytime soon. Even if they end up winning this round. Yeah, it'll be a while. It'll be a while until Halzer can actually get his hands on an AWP. If he ends up dying and maybe gets a kill, then you add 3,000 onto that. No, somebody else can get an AWP with Kevlar, but Halzer is not getting one anytime soon.
Impulse, very aggressive, and he almost catches off the jumping CT. Instead, he is forced back. Necrogenesis as well is burnt to 67 HP. Will not matter all too much. AVN inching into Boiler. Again, Dignitas is playing their retake bracket setup, if I'm not wrong, but that grenade doesn't do anywhere near as much damage as it did last time. Freiberg's going to be having a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but he catches off Dimke, who was waiting for a flashbang to pop. Freiberg comes through with 2 kills, and now it's suddenly a 5 versus 3.
Level up. 3 versus 5 is going to be very difficult to maneuver around, but Impulse has opened up opportunities, gets a second kill as well, and a 2 versus 3 is now looking very doable. AVN, he knows where Exist is, he just needs to land the 1 tap, and that angle couldn't be any better. He spotted a pixel, but he's also very wary of the fact that Halzerk might be coming around the corner. He has 2 angles to clear out, but that's 1 angle too many. Impulse eventually goes down as well. Exist played that to perfection and waited around for a teammate. 6-4, Dignitas still looking quite strong on the CT side, but level up, they're definitely putting up a fight.
Yeah, Dimke turns around because of the flashbang that was coming over, and unfortunately, Freiberg also had a teammate throwing a flashbang over right at the same time, so he catches them both out really nicely. One way to get an AWP when you don't have money is to pick it up from your enemy team, and that's exactly what Halzerk does. So all of our op speculation is now by the wayside. They are going to be perfectly fine with a full buy.
Dignitas. They haven't quite taken control of Banana, even though Get Right threw a flashbang there to just try to push them back off. But that is not going to be the case because level up are at least all the way at logs. And as time passes, the control will be that much stronger. Dignitas, in particular, their entire game plan here is to either rely on early information from Get Right, which is not going to come through because he's playing all the way from Coffin, or for the players to just come A. Now, they realize that this is too much of a gamble, and Freiberg will eventually come to the B site, but are 2 players going to be enough to hold down the line? And there is going to be a significant amount of utility being thrown their way. God Flash prep by Impulse. Coffin smoke coming through as well. Get Right and Freiberg have to try to hold this down.
Molotov is well placed and will split up the terrorists nicely. With 35 seconds on the clock, it sets up for the CT side retake much more effectively, especially when you consider that they still have mollies and they can still deny the bomb from being planted. And the secondary nade is important as well, but D is already fallen. They didn't have a smoke to extinguish and they went the wrong way. So D goes down to utility already, and GetRight is ready to try and wallbang through. The grenade helps set up for a bit more, but GetRight is still caught off by Dimk. Forrest pushes through, the flashbang blinds him as well as Necrogenesis, and he will be able to take him down. Dimk, however, still firing in. Avian swings out. Dimk turns around, but it's a 1v1 as Freiberg and Forrest do at least give themselves a chance, but it's not good enough. Impulse, beautiful round from him, and although Dignitas was fantastic with the utility, the difference maker is that GetRight isn't able to get damage in through that coffin. Otherwise, the bomb would never have been planted. Dimk would have gone down. And can I just say, Observer, really good job on that camera angle, because that showed us everything that was going on. So, you know, hats off to you,
Так,
Observer.
ребятушки, меня, по всей видимости, Всевышний услышал. Мне принесли шаурму, представляете? Так что я буду кушать шаурму. А телефон я не нашел, потому что я его в квартире где-то потерял. Я его тупо не могу найти. Полдня уже. Через полчаса я КС-ку смотрю. Пара через полчаса. Ты правильно делаешь, правильный выбор. Ну ладно, я офну, короче, и покушаю наконец-таки. Тут вроде как носороги возвращаются, но, блин, поздновастенько, конечно.
Level up or elite play for them always seems to be B control, and it has been working out for them very well.
Yeah, Holzwick is like Apple stock. You really wish you could go back in time and get him.
Oh yeah.
Smoke goes out towards CT. It should be a straightforward round. Level up should be able to get to 6-6. And for the CTs, it's all about the extra $300 you can bring together for Exist, maybe, for Freiberg, maybe. Freiberg does find the kill as well, so the P250 investment is at least returned. Exist, not quite as lucky. And I mean, a lot of damage dealt actually, and GetRight's position is really good. He's even found the bomb planter, so much more damage than should have been, and the CTs get a lot more money than they should have. But what's the impact going to be?
The funny thing is that had GetRight not missed the initial shot with his USB, he could have actually picked up 2 kills and brought it to a 1 versus 1, or even saved his teammate from dying and brought it to a 2 versus 1 for the CT side. So GetRight positioning there was impeccable. They had no idea that a player could be in dark because he hadn't revealed himself for the longest time. However, that doesn't end up materializing into a round on the scoreboard. Halzerk getting very aggressive with his AWP. Impulse is flashed out, and Impulse will fall. Halzerk now relying on his teammates to try to bail him out of a very sticky spot. Loses 50 points of health to the Molotov, but eventually will be able to run away. Necrogenesis. Then Molotov actually denies him to be able to get the refrag. Well, that nade is good enough to bring Halzerk down to his last knees. All 2 of them.
Yes, indeed. GetRight is looking to also put other people onto 2 knees. Apparently a lot of us have those, fortunately. Forrest is waiting for a push to come in. Exist takes first contact, but first contact means his death, and so will it be for Forrest. 3v3. Grenade is well placed. It will do a lot of damage on the Dimk. But with Holzek himself being low, the CTs do have a Molotov on the GetRight. Question is, can they actually get the Molotov directly in a mini pit while the smoke from Moto is still going? Because if that comes through, that's an entirely different retake. Necro and Dimk are so low, it could mean anything.
The CTs finally starting to push in. The commitment is a bit half-hearted, but they'll finally start to push around the smoke. GetRight picks up D, and he gets a second, while Halzerk gets the last one. How does that retake happen in the blink of an eye? I don't even know how they were able to, how Halzerk was allowed to come through the smoke in that regard. I didn't think that retake would work out for them, but at the end of the day, when Dignitas are put in 500 retakes, they will end up winning at least one.
I mean, they've been good on retakes. In all fairness, it's not an Inferno. That's
Yeah,
a
but
pretty good
retakes
one
are
to
generally just unfavorable, is all
Yeah.
I'm saying. I'm not blaming them. I'm actually going to give them huge props because their utility has been so good on those
Yes.
retakes. And even for down to the last details, for example, Get Right's nade to be able to catch out Dimk was just perfectly placed. But now, Get Right will have a lot more work to do as Banana is being contested.
No, I agree with you. I think the retakes have been impeccable. Even the ones that haven't worked out on the B bomb side, they've been really good. One interesting thing. Oh, nice grenade from Freiburg. I don't know why it said plus Impulse. Did Impulse also miss some utility and do some damage to his teammate?
I think I'm not 100% sure.
Maybe
so.
just like an accidental knife or something. I didn't notice that. But Get Right dodges out the boost that was coming in from behind this one. One thing that I wanted to point out, though, is that Holzak in the previous round actually saved his smoke instead of using it when he was burning away inside the Molotov. Get Right will have a firing range and a flashbang to come through from his teammate. Well, I mean, it's just eco kills for days. He's had a really good game so far, and it feels like eco frangs come to those who wait.
Yeah, now D, 1 versus 5. And with that flank coming in as well, it's very unlikely that he can get much damage done. Doesn't know where the logs player is because he hasn't really shown information. Gets tagged up and Forrest picks up the kill. Now, this is actually probably the cleanest round we've seen in the series or something, because generally speaking, Dignitas have consistently been found on retakes. They've been found in positions where somebody has to clutch it out, a 1 versus 2, and Halzerk was able to save them on nuke. Just everything across the board for Dignitas has been quite sloppy because it always comes down to retakes and clutches, which doesn't really take much away from them because they have played retakes and stuff very well, but lvlUP, it really puts that much more credit to them that they've been able to bring such a close scoreline in that regard. Impulse. First man in, and Get Right will fall. Freiburg trying to hold down the line alone now. The nade will fly out as well. Does quite a bit of damage, but Freiburg is alone. The backup is just not coming in soon enough, and that leaves them in a 5 versus 3.
It's a much faster play from lvlUP, and I think Necrogenesis should be able to catch out Forrest as well. Forrest's position is completely known, and although his utility does go in, it really shouldn't matter. It's a 2v5, but it's the last round of the half, so they'll go for it anyway. Good flashbang comes in. They are clearing out the angles, but Exist clears out the wrong one. All 5 players kept alive. lvlUP get really aggressive really early on, and I like that from them. Dignitas haven't really been nading them down unless they're on an eco, and as a result of that, lvlUP just say, whatever, let's go in faster, let's try and take control. Where we are suffering and where rounds are becoming close is when we allow them to set up for a retake. And seeing as Dignitas had already used their Molotovs, it was going to be a much harder delay to come through. So lvlUP capitalized off of it really nicely, and we are now on an 8-7. I have to point out, to Dignitas' credit, that they did have a few very clean rounds early on, but after that, lvlUP's been doing fantastically well.
This is where lvlUP can finally start to shine when they're on the favored side. Dimk, along with AVN, starts to tap away at these terrorists coming their way, and they still have 2 players left on the B-bomb site. So for 2 Ts to already fall, this is quite problematic for Dignitas. Halzerk, first man in. He's trying to find the fountain player, but D is too quick on the trigger, and he's feeling very accurate today. The CT side completely mowing down the Ts. And that just didn't work out for Dignitas. I have to still point out, however, that I'm really glad now Halzerk is in the backseat, and it's Freiburg and Get Right that are sitting in the driver's seat, really taking charge of the game, and really showing up on the scoreboard. So if Halzerk can turn on as much as he did in the previous game, this could potentially be a 2-0, but now lvlUP, they've nudged themselves into a position where they can really start to show how they can shine. And this is their mapping.
The problem is obviously that T-side opping is really hard on Overpass. So Dignitas, I like that they're going for the good old Fnatic boost, the silent boost directly inwards to the bedroom of apartments. But Freiburg could just be caught off by these CTs. They've realized that he's moved back. They should know that there's not really anyone around the corner. And now that the CTs are being flashed off completely, AVN is missing some shots, but they'll still manage to clean up this force by rush. Get Right's left alone, and Get Right's found 2 and 3 is going for the ace clutch. There's players coming in from short, so it's definitely a doable position for him. Even Moose Boss picks up the M4. This is a fantastic opportunity, but he turns around at the wrong time. Still, great damage up from Get Right.
That is going to have a bit of an impact because the CT side, they were hoping to still have these MP9s in this next round because Dignitas had a significant investment, which means now this should be a throwaway round for them. So for a level up to have to make an early investment again, that's not the best of positions, so the impact will be reflected in their buys. Dignitas really like the fact that they have a flashbang to allow themselves a little bit more mobility, but that flashbang will be used up early, and its impact will be nil.
Level Up will find themselves on 10 rounds off the back of this. And let's not forget, as close as it's been on the first half, that was the CT side. This is Level Up's map pick. This is a map that Level Up are incredibly proficient on. This is a map that Level Up are heavily favored to come out on top for. And Dimke, if he starts building up money, that would be very important for them. However, are there any smokes to pick up? Yes, there are. So Holzak even finds a smoke. Will be smoking off CT immediately. Impulse trying to spray away. A flashbang will dissuade him from the fact, and the bomb is planted. So suddenly, with 2 MP9s and a Deagle, every one of these players is a lethal threat. Flashbang to come into construction. Impulse is going for it. Necrogenesis, however, is a player scoping them out. What? Forrest has found himself 2 kills and an M4? He's not even going to peek this. He's not going to peek this, is he? Oh, yes, he is. All right, for a second I thought Forrest was just going to say, whatever, go for it. But bomb plant and 4 kills?
That's great from that's great for Dignitas. The only investment they had there was a few Deagles here and there. And for them to get 4 kills off of that, that changes everything. However, Level Up still allowed to get the double digits, even though it looked quite dicey there. Forrest could have potentially gotten it, and you also have to keep in mind that Avian did not have a kit there, so that round could have very well went the way of Forrest. Now, if Dignitas can win a round right off of this, then Level Up's economy would be upset just enough for them to piece together a couple more rounds. The question is, can Level Up keep up the pressure? This is their chance to start building up a bank, but they need to start things off with a round win on a gun round.
Level Up are playing this pretty much standard. They've taken full banana control. Dignitas is setting up for a hit. Level Up's rotating their players over quickly, but it might just be bait coming through. Dignitas have decided it's time to go forward. With an AWP on the other side, this becomes significantly more troubling, though, because your flashes have to be on point. Are they going to be or not, though, is the question. And the flash comes in, Impulse backs off, flashes on his own, and the CTs are still convinced that there is a possibility of it being A. And with the smoke being chucked over towards Arches, maybe that possibility is going to be even greater. Beak is coming through. Impulse not taken down, but he misses his own shot as well. And now comes the backup. The T-side player on the A-bomb side is Get Right. And he's been having a great game, so he could definitely keep rotations away. D's been flashed up. Nate goes out, won't do much damage. Actually, huge damage. Forrest still gets him down. And now Impulse is missing so many shots that the A-bomb side rotations, by the time they come over, it's still a 3v3, and it's way too strong from the terrorist side for them to feel comfortable about this without utility.
This was Level Up's chance to start building up a bank, and although they still end up saving their weaponry, it means that Dignitas might as well have the advantage here. Sure, in the next round, I believe Level Up will be able to drop a few weapons here and there just to be able to have a force together by. But at the same time, they're not going to have M4s, that's for sure. Their other 2 players are going to have to buy MP9s. Maybe D can buy an M4 for himself because he's sitting on 2350, and
it's
believe...
$1,400 Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, right. They've already won 2 rounds, so...
Yeah. No, yeah,
he can drop an M4 to Impulse,
No,
but
they
even
have to
then...
save. If they buy off the back of this, that's insane.
Yeah, no AWP to be found for the next 3 rounds or so if that happens. So this would be too much of a gamble for them to commit to.
They're doing it though.
Oh yeah. Investment is
Okay.
coming in.
So Impulse will be left enough money to be able to buy up an AWP later on. It's still a respectable buy. It's decent, but it's very different to how they've been playing. You can't play for and 2 people take banana control with this buy. It's just not possible. So instead, they're going for a very heavy A stack early on, and they should be able to save should things go wrong and the B bomb site is hit. Now, are they ready for a retake situation? I'm not sure about that. It's all about how much utility is used when and where. They are ready to actually take a peek into mid as well. They've boosted up a few players towards short, so this decision from Dignitas to head over towards the B bomb site should be everything. So it all comes down to this MP9. Can D find 2 kills? Because if he can, all right, now we're talking. But if not, well, then no chance whatsoever. And Get Right is going to fall. So 3v4, yes. Utility, yes. But man, you've got to save at this point.
And it becomes a little troubling if you have to save time and time again, because Dignitas, they're also getting away without much of a scratch. It allows them to start building up a bank that the CT side should always be afraid of. When you get to double digits on the Dignitas side and you're starting to crawl into the last few rounds of the half, that's where a level up, the danger for them to suddenly be on an economic deficit if they lose a couple rounds, it's too much. And that's potentially the one passage that Dignitas can take to close it out 2-0, even though the veto looked so good for level up.
And let's not forget at any point, level up has found a lot of success on their CT side, but it's off the back of taking banana control. So that's a very expensive strategy to be sticking with. If your major strategy is taking banana control aggressively, you're expending 2 Molotovs, you're expending 2 grenades and a smoke every time, and then you ideally want an AWP to watch from Broken Wall. So you're very much cutting off your own foot at this point. If you aren't giving yourself a chance to go for what's been your major route of success, which honestly so far Dignitas have not been able to counter. They've not shown that they can. The only reason why they won around was because Impulse missed a few shots, and AVN, he's getting aggressive. He'll find the initial kill, and he knows there's an AWP around the corner and that there should be another player. He cuts off 2. This could be huge. D also finds a headshot, but Get Right and Exist still come out on top. It's still a 3v2. There's still a lot of work to be done, but Necrogenesis and Dimk feel like they're up to the task.
Yeah, they don't want to save another time. They finally want to participate, but Necrogenesis has taken quite a bit of damage on the way in. Dimk has a kit, so a chance is there. Exist is quite low, which might be their saving grace, and it's instead Halzerg that has the AWP, and he is a healthy player, so that makes things a little easier for the CT side. That being said, the bomb is already ticked down pretty much half away. Dimk is able to pick up Exist, but that's the unhealthy player. Dimk is taking quite a bit of damage for the exchange that just happened. He's running out through the apartments. Necrogenesis has somehow made it a doable situation. 2 flashbangs go through. Get Right has to try to clutch it out 1 versus 2. The bomb is in an unfavorable position. Get Right gets the first player. Dimk is trying to stick it, but Get Right can spot the bomb, and there it is, the 1 versus 2.
That round should not have been so close, but I'm glad it was, so I could see the 1v2 from Get Right.
Oh yeah, that's what you want to see from the veterans all the time.
Yeah. See, this is how I feel. This is why I feel guilty watching the Charlottes game. It's
Так, я
because
тут,
I
ребятки.
want them to lose 3 players,
Что?
so Zipnix can get a 2v5, because who doesn't want to see
Есть
Zipnix
еще
get
Фера,
right
Носорогов.
That's what
Либо все-таки
Counter-Strike's all about,
2-0.
baby.
Какие мысли?
Among other things, sure.
Not really. Dimk.
Если как бы, наверное, этот раунд они не берут, тогда, наверное, ГГшечка, да? Но пока что преимущество. Очень опасненько. Тащить, конечно, за защиту это действительно тяжело. Ставка зашла. Это ты про какую? Что ты имеешь в виду?
Don't really have a smoke for CT at this point. The only one with a smoke is Exist, and Exist is lurking all the way over towards the other bomb
окей,
site.
понял,
Also,
понял, принял.
has to come in big. Knows there's a flash coming overhead, but he doesn't dodge it. So Holzak can't really feel comfortable.
Какой же важный раунд. Им вообще пушить и не надо их на самом деле. Это носороги слегка быкуют. Тут уже есть понимание, что один на банане, скорее всего, да, если гранаты летят с той стороны. Банан убили. Ну, 11-11, по идее. Да. Молодцы, носороги, держатся своими рогами. Но экономика как бы у дигов еще есть. Опасненько. 5, 7, 2, 4. Думает, наверное, что сделать с этим багажом. Так, а следующий матч мы будем смотреть с вами Орза и Ашеры. Очень будет интересный матч. Уже, наверное, к этому времени народ потянется. Будем на это надеяться. Много всяких гусей, которые стримят. Ну, типа, просто включили и все. Сколько ставишь? Да, у меня мелочь. У меня все по мелочи. В среднем 200-300. Где-то так примерно. По чуть-чуть, не быкую. Вау, хорошо. Супер. Какой же импульс молодец. В конечном итоге, как бы, это, если этот бай не выбьет полностью, то тут подарочный 13-й будет. Очень даже хорошо. Фига у него. Какой у него широкий спрей. Очень много девайсов теряет защита, конечно, но раунд берется. Раунд берется, и как бы он крайне важный был.
Off the back of Impulse's kills, by the way, because that was beautifully done.
Да, мне бы эти проблемки. Поверь, это очень даже хорошо, что такая проблема у тебя. Я бы сейчас не отказался бы поучиться немножко. На изи. Вау. Дайте ему эйс, что ли? Не дали эйс. Причем импульс Савика забрал. Что ж ты забрал у пацана эйс? Но это все понятно. Теперь оружеечка.
They've been denied on mid. A level up, definitely have what it takes to take it to map number 3, and then I feel like the ball will be in their court. Dignitas, sloppy buy.
Красиво? Что некрасиво? Если сейчас все-таки они возьмут, то тут как бы третья карта нас ожидает, и Форза немножко оттягивается.
They can actually start to piece something together, and in the last stages of the half, that's not where you want to find yourselves in. Dignitas, if they lose out this round, it's pretty much a guarantee.
А, это то, что забрал пятого? Ну да, а прикинь, у кого-то же там наверняка еще и ставочка на эйс может стоять. То есть он еще и ставочку кому-то заруинил. А что ж ты не стреляешь, бро? Мог бы уже двоих забрать просто. Хорошо. Ой, какая красота. Еще и без потери девайса. Какая красота. Носороги. Что вы с ними делаете? Очень, на самом деле, очень отвратительный выход на кафель, на Б, вообще ужас. Один прыгает что-то, трое тупят, ужас. Хорошая работа с гранатами, конечно, но как бы, походу, тут диги все-таки отдают. За кого болеешь? За носорогов болею, они слабее.
something to work with. And, you know,
А вообще, этот матч для меня абсолютно нейтральный. Сегодня, в принципе, все такие игры. Такого формата, что тут как бы умышленно можно слить, где-то подзаработать. Ну, турнир располагает к этому. Конечно, за мою ставку. Да, я думаю, они заберут Инфернич. Я думаю, не додавят. Ты, наверное, думал, что они должны были зацепиться за Инферно, да, Порба? На самом деле, как бы... У меня тут больше ставка на Инферно, конечно, была. Я еще, когда тебе говорил, я таки подумал, что как бы... Там по пикам как бы забирается нюк у Dignitas, потому что они его... Это их лучшая карта. Левелапы проигрывают. А потом Инферно пикают себе левелап. Они всегда пикают против подобных матчапов. Инферно. Они его очень хорошо играют. Но, если честно, там, блин, очень тупили диги, очень много нам давали. Ну да, я думал, что даже первая зайдет, но нет. А вот по поводу Инферно, как бы, у них Инферно действительно неплохое. А даже статистику посмотреть по Инферно дигов, блин, что очень странно. Они 500 лет играют в эту игру, и их Инферно отыграли 500 миллионов раз, блин. В конечном итоге они как бы Инферно почему-то почти всем отдают. Что странно. Вот. То есть сейчас есть 15-й, и есть возможность 2, 3, 4. То есть нельзя ошибаться. 3 раунда. Ну, точнее, можно ошибаться 3 раунда, но желательно как бы заканчивать. Солдаты. Да, сериальчик прикольный. Хотели они агрессивно забрать последний раунд. Вот такое. Какая next карта? Сейчас тебе скажу. Сейчас у бота спрошу, сам не помню. Вертига, по-моему. Кстати, знак мэп. По-моему, Вертига, да.
So it makes sense to save the AWP to fight another day. And if he manages to get away with this, I think they can comfortably fight for the next 3 rounds, but they'll have to be a little more.
Что там у нас по Вертига?
On the last round if they end up losing too.
Я вообще не знаю, как Сороки на Вертига играют, не видел.
And I'm very surprised
Сороги, на Сороги.
after those first 2 kills. I'm not even sure how that happened.
У Дигов 4 официалки на Вертига всего лишь.
Well, Holzek and Freiburg were just able to get the trades immediately. Level Up couldn't really get back into a more defensive position, and as a result of that, you know, you've got yourself a player over mid over in Mexico. It's a very strong position because how many different angles it can deal with, and there you go. I make it sound a lot simpler than it is, so.
Но они даже у атаксов выигрывали. Правда, в июле это было, а в это время, на тот период, в июле, атаксы, топ-карта Вертига у атаксов была. То есть на Сороге что-то знают на третьей карте, но тут надо еще вывести на третью карту. Если они в июле выигрывали альтернатив атаксов на их лучшей карте, то как бы действительно о чем-то говорит. Будет потно. Я думаю, да. Будет действительно потненько.
Full brackets control taken, short control also there, so level up should they want to move back into it, either they take a big risk or they have to play full retake with smokes, flashes and the works. The B-bomb site players have not rotated over. Necrogenesis might be giving out a bad call, as there's no one in apartments, and the T players are looking to go in. By this time, the third player on the CT side is already back.
Что третий ротировался? Как бы 35 секунд, ребят.
There's 30 seconds left on the clock, and lvlUP is cheating rotations, so Dignitas may have waited
Там
way
уже как
too
бы
long. Dignitas are
товарищ
coming
Б
in.
понимает,
It's
что
going
это,
to be
ага.
short hit. 25 seconds, it's all or nothing.
Ой-ой, как же сейчас Диги, походу, зарынет себе раунд. Да. Да, спасибо за комплиментик. Ну, чё, легчайшее, как по мне. Очень много ошибок, и вы помните, кто смотрел сначала, какой был старт. lvlUP ужасный. Они 5-0, по-моему, летели. Точно не помню, по-моему, 5-0 они летели. Но Инферно как бы у них стабильно заходит. Так у тебя же еще одно событие, по-моему. Что спасибо-то? Что спасибо? Тебе же не зашло еще все. Еще же одно, по-моему. Еще 2? Подожди, а сегодня не 3 матча разве было? Я просто не помню. Мы Singularity не брали с тобой, да? Мы Singularity не брали. Singularity же просто тоже карту взяли. И эти взяли. SG взяли, или Singularity мы не брали. То есть 3 сыграло. То, что мы 3 обсуждали, 3 сыграло. SG взяла, Singularity взяла и носороги взяли. Еще остались комплексити, да, по-моему? Я уже не помню, с кем они там играют. Комплексити. Со спиритами. Но это будет 9-го. Героик. Героик. По-моему, комплексити. Можешь проверить, или это точно? Героик против бигов? Да нет, ты что-то путаешь. Посмотри. Там, по-моему, комплексити победа должна быть, и все. Мы героик с тобой не выбирали. Героик с бигами. НЦ победа, да? Так что осталось в итоге? Просто победа НЦ, да? Потому что героик я точно тебе не говорил. Там же они с бигами играют. Победа НЦ и победа комплексити. По-моему, так, да. Там как раз на НЦ, да, 1.60 давали. Посмотрим. Это как бы тоже интересный матч и не менее, так сказать, тяжелый, на самом деле. Тут как бы фора была, а тут как бы победа. Разница как бы есть. Я, кстати, 100 рубасей решился на вторую карту поставить. У меня теперь не 100. У меня теперь серьезные мани на кармане. Ставка соточка сыграла. Но Вертига тяжело будет что-то создать. То, что мне очень понравилось, то, что они Атакса в июле выиграла. 100% помню, что на то время Атаксы неубиваемые были на Вертига. Вообще никто их переиграть не мог. Будет прикольно, если носороги в итоге их переедут на Вертига. Начинали, кстати, 5-1 носороги, проигрывали старт. 5-1. Играть в рулетку на тотал счет. Да ну, это реально рулетка. Чем мне надо? Ну, реально тяжело. Вот как вообще можно предугадать счет? Если свою практику даже сколько я смотрю, я не могу предугадать счет. Ну, бывают отдельные матчи, когда это действительно работает. Но чтобы так систематически лупить. Так, ну ладно. Копенгаген Флеймс, Мибры. Добрый вечер. Опа. Что там по форе на Копенгаген Флеймс дают, интересно? .45. Короче, все. Мибров уже не уважает. Уже форы даже заниженные, представляете? Уже заниженные форы на мибров. Против мибров. Все, закончилась халява. Буки прощупали, что мибры уже не те. Ой-ой-ой. 13-2 они компэкнули. Реал Патруль? Нет.
Welcome back, everybody, to Dignitas versus Level Up, and of course, this is map number 3. It was It got very dicey for Dignitas at the start and Nuke, and now lvlUP have made it 1-1, and the decider will be Vertigo. But before that, let me quickly remind you that Esports Millions is back in collaboration with 9 to 5 Cup 4. You once again
Да
have the
ничего не было, были
chance
ножи.
to win 1
И то их
million
даже не
euros with
показали.
Esports Millions. You can head over to
Поэтому ты ничего не
esportsmillions.gg
потерял.
to take part for free. All you need to do is give your
Так,
prediction
что-то мне
across
кажется,
10
что тут
questions
носороги
and simply
додают,
watch
если
Cup 4
честно.
to see if you'll hit the jackpot. Remember,
Такое
you can
впечатление.
also potentially win a main gear gaming PC that is worth $1,500.
Носороги
So go to
додавят
esportsmillions.gg to
стареньких
play
наших
right
друзей.
Honestly, I think it's a lie that it's worth $1,500 because it's so good looking.
now. Oh yeah.
I think the aesthetic value alone like probably makes it worth more than that, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, Esports Millions, great stuff from them. Lots of things for
Great
everyone to be
stuff.
excited about. So that's always
Great
nice.
stuff.
But now we're heading into the pistol round, and we've got one very, very small thing to be excited about. Apparently, this lvlUP teams, they've been doing pretty well against Dignitas so far. Apparently, they probably should have 2-0'd them. And let's see whether or not that statement is true as we head into Vertigo, a map which lvlUP have a 40% win rate on. Not very impressive, but when you consider the fact that, hey, Vertigo is not great for Dignitas, I think they have like an 18% win rate on or something on those lines. It's even more so. Pistol round starts off. Dimk's been good all series long.
Хорошее начало.
And why would he quiet down for
Как так
Vertigo?
могли
Freiberg
Дigi,
and
конечно,
Jet
отыграть.
both being tagged down heavily as well. Freiberg does come in with one. but
Еще
Bomber
хорошо,
being
что они в
planted,
атаке,
although he
еще и
has
бомбы
again,
ставятся. То
Freiberg
есть
really can't do
начало
much in
прям
this
вау.
situation.
It's Halzerg and Freiberg that are trying to contest this pistol round. Halzerg still has armor and 100 HP, so something can be done off the back of it, and a flashbang is there to potentially support him. But Impulse, his position has been given away, but too many bullets have been expended to try to fish that one out. Halzerg now just trying to hold on to his life, but at the end of the day, it doesn't end up working out for him. So
Красиво.
one thing I'd like to mention before I quickly hand you over the mic is
Начало
the
очень
fact that
даже с
even though
ничего.
lvlUP's win rate isn't amazing on Vertigo, the last time we casted them against 9, it looked like they had made significant changes. So their overall win percentage, I don't even think it sums up. I don't think even it's a fair representation of what their Vertigo is like right
Yes.
now.
It's really important to keep in mind that teams who don't play a map can become average on a map very, very quickly with a few days of scrims and a few days of dry runs and whatnot. So it's always really important to consider. So Freiberg at this stage with the Deagle at the ready has 4 spot up with the rest of his teammates. He did find a kill in the previous round. This time it'll be a bit more tricky. Halzerg, great shot. D has been eliminated. Freiberg tries to peek off of the distraction, but can't find anything, and instead it's
Красиво.
Impulse and Necro to take away 2 lives. However, exists with the trade, keeps things even Steven, and the AK-47 is around on the ramp. So Impulse, maybe he's going to be left behind. Maybe the rest of the players will go back towards B. But Exist is rotated back in from scaffolding. Impulse has turned around. Is someone going to be caught up by the P250? No, they're not. It's just a cleanup.
But Get Right still has a Deagle, and they have barely any HP to work off of. So off of that, this could very well be a clutch. He has audio information, but position has now been given away. The bomb eventually starts to go down. Get Right takes a bit of a scrape himself, but everyone here is 1 hit away from certain death should Get Right start to land those shots. He has armor, and that Deagle is worth saving as well. So, ooh, he actually just goes for the reposition
Bumps.
to potentially cast the player behind concrete.
Он был
But at the end
рядом.
of the day, he just doesn't find an opportunity, and had he gotten that first kill through the smoke, perhaps it would be a contender for a 1 versus 3 clutch. But he just has to back off instead. He knows that Dignitas doesn't have money in the next round, so even having a Deagle, even having armor, could potentially change how much damage they can do. But Impulse, he has a different story to tell here. Ends up taking him out, and the Deagle and armor along with it.
Салют, салют. У меня на парике вообще закрыли все события. Я не успел взять победу. лвлUP.
Definitely going to be saving up for that AWP, and because Halzerg has $2,800.
Ну да ладно.
Yeah,
He'll be
$2,800.
able to buy it up.
Yeah.
Тупо закрыли все, короче.
$2,900, so yeah, he might have to.
Тупо
Yeah, he
закрыли.
can't buy full armor and utility, but he'll be able to get that AWP regardless.
It's okay. Small armor is fine when you've got an AWP anyway. Honestly, armor in general seems to be optional.
Какую первую карту там Мибры играют? Оверпасик. F4 лап при матче? Понял. Не оверпас играет.
However,
Сейчас Мибры здесь оверпас отдадут.
I think it's better
Это
off
будет,
if he
конечно,
doesn't buy armor,
клоунада.
even though he has the money for it.
Come on.
I meant not buy a helmet, because then he would just have an additional smoke. And I feel like instead of having that helmet, that additional smoke.
И что-то мне кажется, что Капитан Флеймс их закроет. В матче, в общем.
Necrogenesis, he does have a Mac 10, so that's something to keep in the back of your mind. Level up 3-0. They've already started to get a bit of a
Капец,
back
Мибры
door,
вообще
but not
всем
too much
проигрывают.
yet, so
Что
Dignitas
с
can
ними?
still deny this. But they are
Что
on
с
the
ними
T side,
происходит?
and they want to put together as many rounds as they can. Early smoke from Dignitas to establish ramp control, but the T's are just waiting for it to fade before they start contesting it further.
My problem with Holzer getting a helmet is his position. He's so defensively positioned that if you're playing from scaffolding, if you're playing around from behind the tin wall, if you're playing from
Можно им
ramp itself, there's
проигрывать.
a lot of wallbang spots. I dig it. You know what, helmet, I understand.
Они этот оверпас уже 500 раз играли. Можно какие-то выводы сделать?
You're right. A smoke is definitely more useful in that situation.
Сыграть уже этот оверпас. Сколько можно
With
проигрывать?
50 seconds, they're about to push in, and it'll be down to Freiburg to hold down the first line, but it's also Exist that's trying to play around the smoke. He swings out, but the concrete will not be his best friend. Dimk is able to pick up the first frag, and Freiburg will be forced back. Forrest goes for the wide swing. Dimk is the second aggressor as well. He gets 2 kills for himself, but there are still CTs to contend with. Freiburg out, he finds 2 heads, and he could have gotten a little bit more done, but it comes down to a 3 versus 2, and the bomb is about to go down. That being said, Molotov primed up. Get Right tries to deny the bomb plant, and Halzerk is there for the kill. That's so much damage being dished out by the CT side off of utility and off of Halzerk being in such a great position. It comes down to the 1 versus 2. AVN has to
Тут, скорее всего, они под размен сыграют и... А куда ты идешь, друг? Лишь 1-2 остался. Чё, взял, подарил раунд? Чё это за мувы такие непонятные? Просто пришел и умер. Нужно искать перестрелку 1 в 1. Иди ты назад, подрежь одного, потом второго. Пришел к 2. Ужасно странно, если честно.
They will get aggressive, but not overly so. They're not going to continue that aggression to the next round. They know to stop at that point. I think that's the very fine balance, which if I ever see it, I'm saying, okay, this guy can really make something happen. It's one of the reasons why I think Shero can sometimes fall short, even though he's obviously the big hot talent that everyone's talking about these days, is that
Да, странный мув, согласен. Ну, что поделаешь. Так, ну, Мибры хотя бы трейн должны забрать, да? Против Gun in Flames. Они трейн свой козырный не заберут.
Of course, when you're on the T side, it becomes a little bit easier, even if the numbers are equalized. That's
То как бы о чем говорить, да?
Even though it might look equal in the numbers, when the T
Если они
side,
трейнчик не заберут,
if they can get equal trades, it's actually an
то
advantage
реально
for
надо
the
с ними
Ts
что-то
because there are
делать.
so many more holes in the defenses of the CTs. But Halzerk is looking to poke some holes in the terrorists instead. He's waiting with that AWP. The flashbang is there, and Halzerk avoids them. They start to commit.
Интересно, как Imperial с Вислой отыграют.
Molotov to molly out Bookshelf. He knows that they're going to commit eventually, but it's also Necrogenesis who's coming in on the flank. He manages to pick up Exist, and it's all down to the players on the B site now.
Freiburg and Halzerk looking to find Necrogenesis, and with Necro's death, there is a significant chance. D and company have made a lot of noise coming over as well, so their exact position is known.
Так, Imperial, Висла, Краков. Ну, Висла тут фаворит, конечно, тут не поспоришь.
And it doesn't win it out. D, with 2 stunning kills, is going to come out on top. It's 4-1. Dignitas look like they don't know what to do with this AWP.
Fortunately, Halzerk was just not able to capitalize off of having an AWP in his hands. And that'll mean that lvlUP get another round. It's getting a little too dangerous for Dignitas because lvlUP, like I said, the revamped Vertigo is going to be that much more dangerous when they are on the CT side. But instead, it's Impulse and MK who get caught out with these pistols. And it comes down to a 3 versus 5. Somehow the CT side have carved themselves out a position where they can actually come back from it. The AWP still being impactful in the hands of Halzerk as he gets a tag through the wall onto D. AVN trying to push the lines back, but before that happens, Dignitas themselves will go for more conservative positions. They play a little bit more passively, especially with that AWP now in the hands of Halzerk. Exists. 8K has been recovered.
Exist's position is going to be pivotal. He could quickly tap away on a few of these players, but the shot being missed means that smoke
16 закрыли бы.
ducked out towards the right door.
Да не, я не думаю, что так все просто будет.
The terrorists, although they seem to be on the back foot,
Тут как минимум борьба будет
100%.
Просто у левелапа, по цифрам действительно опыта больше. Красиво подловил. Красиво подловил, и тут подарочный подъехал второй. Круто. Буквально они с ножичками на шифте идут.
20 seconds on the clock. In a flurry to get the bomb planted, he will move forward. Forrest with the deagle, but Exist is the one with the dunk. 2-4. Dignitas find themselves another round.
I'm incredibly surprised that lvlUP are able to drop that round because they just had a significant weaponry advantage. Somehow those pistols come out on top. And when you're on the T side, and an upset like that happens where eventually you're supposed to be building a bank, instead you lose out on all of your money, and now we're seeing a hastily put together buy from the side of lvlUP. They have 2 AKs, they have 3 CZ75s, and on a map like Vertigo, it's very difficult to catch these close angles. The ramp, of course, very easy to manipulate into being a long-range duel if you're playing from the CT side. And Dignitas, they're in a very good spot.
Если все-таки на Сороге еще один салют, то диги полностью вернутся. Там нет никакой экономики и будет полноценный ресет. Ресет паритет.
And Freiburg's rotation needs to come in soon if this is going to be a full execute. lvlUP looking like that's exactly
Хорошая, да, флешечка? Очень качественный заход, конечно. Вот как бы о чем мы и говорили, что что-то дознают ребята на этой карте. То есть заход, раскид, все отработано. А диги как-то как растерянные мальчики, как мы на лане выглядим, реально. Там просто даже все это выглядит. Пусть диги выиграют. Никто не против, я думаю. Просто у дигов здесь как бы и опыта, я так понял, нету игрового цалок, не так уж и много. И каких-то весомых выигрышей как бы тоже. А у носорогов есть. Носороги могут похвастаться статистикой на Вертиго.
Even though Dignitas pretty much upset the economy of lvlUP, for them to be able to bring it back immediately after.
То есть для меня то, что они в июле атаксов переиграли на их лучшей карте, именно на этой, это действительно о чем-то говорит.
Still have a bit of a saving grace in the fact that they had significant bank built
Что
up from the
Вертиго
upset.
играть не умеет.
So Get Rights should still be able to get a weapon, even though the utility won't be perfect. Halzerk hasn't quite found many opportunities.
Он-то должен, только у него
his stats aren't there to show for it.
девайса нету.
And even though he was really popping off in Nuke, we didn't really see the same performance on Inferno, and it feels like lvlUP, they have the structure.
Есть девайс, да? Ну, сейчас посмотрим, как он должен. Должны цепляться, конечно, дики. Я не думаю, что никакой борьбы даже не будет. Должны цепляться.
Dimk peeks outwards, almost finds the initial shot onto the CTUs, anchoring the site, which is
Красиво.
Get right, will finish off Dimk, but
Но слишком открыто, конечно, сыграл. Битрайт мог бы как бы выжить в этой ситуации. Ну ладно, тут Форест как бы справляется. Горишь, бро. Сколько он хп, конечно, потерял. Очень много потерял хп. В итоге как бы целая минута.
The privilege to start building up an economy, and
Целая
that
минута,
will
он
be very
один.
important if they want to keep a level up under their own scoreline. Unfortunately, they haven't found much success just yet, and Impulse, he's still alive, so the prospect of more damage is still there, and even a clutch isn't entirely out of the question. No utility to potentially stop the bomb plant, so that's additional economic buff there. But Holzerk eventually finds him, so at the very least, no more economic damage will be dished out by the side of level up. Very back and forth game, I must say.
I mean, yes, but Forest got a 3K.
Вертик это мапа, ну для меня да.
That's the only
Я бы
reason why
тоже
they're
так сказал.
competitive over here. And, okay,
Потому что за
Forest
атаку
will
тут
get
действительно
times. I'm not taking
можно
anything away from him. He's a
камбэкать,
fantastic
причем
player, but
даже
I
самого
don't see a
критичного
formula
счета.
for success.
We didn't see it
I
on Nuke
see-
either, by the way.
No, we did. In all fairness, we did. Just not in overtime. And not towards the very end of the game.
Ну
But
да, то,
in
что бомбу
Nuke,
какой-то
I saw them
максимум
being in good
сделал.
positions and just losing duels. That's why it was an 8-7
Как бы,
first half.
вряд ли он там тащил. Точнее, не максимум, минимум, да? Минимум он сделал. Бомба уже
So,
хорошо. По крайней мере,
You know,
будет
over
экономить.
here, I don't even see the positions, honestly. It's just Holzerk's not in position to get aggressive on ramp, to get a pick in mid, to do much early on. Then they're not in positions to go for a retake.
Если у тебя нет в команде мейн Саканталика или Норм мейн, то вызок этот ничего не возьмешь. Не, ну как показывает практика, у всех есть снайпер. Просто Халдерк иногда он хорош, иногда он выпадает.
Level up now with their utility primed and ready. They have a significant number of flashbangs, which is been their
Significant
heaviest
number.
investments. They only have 2 smokes, so we might be seeing a push come in soon. And whatever push they go for will have to be their final commitment, simply because they don't have further utility. Now, Freiburg off of elevators might have to hold down the line, and it's Tim K. Should be the first man in with the Tech 9.
MK's been solid, but Freiburg and Exist have come through. Now their defense is so much more
Красиво отработано.
They're ready for the hit to come through onto this bomb site. Freiburg finds another, and it's a completely clean round. And this is what I
Да,
meant by
действительно
being in
чистенько.
retake
Посмотрите,
position.
хп
This is what I
потерянное.
meant by being in position to punish.
Вообще
Look
никто
at how
даже и не терял.
concentrated they are
Очень красиво.
around the entrance to elevators and the back of the bomb site itself. You're never going to get a kill there without the CTs trading it away. Plus, when the CTs have AKs,
Под норным снайпером подразумеваю таком снайпера, который больше двигается, бегает по всей карте. Но это один из видов снайперов. Не все ж такие. Ну, понятно, что они есть. Красиво. Только вот не попал.
That run boost could have gotten a little dicey for the CT side, but fortunately for the Dignitas side, they're able to punish.
Церк очень подходит под твое описание.
Comes out swinging with the Deagle. Freiburg to punish D. 1 versus 4, and he just puts the bomb out of its misery. But luckily that bomb doesn't disappear, of course, it'll always come back.
Ну, уже прыгнул бы сам туда.
Well, you can't let go of it, ever.
Indeed. Indeed.
It is like the Chucky doll, it'll always come back. You can never get rid of it.
Сделал бы шоу. Все бы запомнили, как он прыгнул за бомбой.
I've never actually watched the movie.
Wait, which one was it?
Попал бы на YouTube.
Was it Annabelle or
Получил бы
Chucky?
популярность.
I can't put my finger on it.
Я-
There are a lot of creepy dolls in
Вся
IQ.
жизнь
They
далась.
always seem to come
А так
back,
умер,
right?
как
Yeah.
типичный.
Maybe they just need some love.
Yeah, speaking of
Соло.
comebacks, however,
Отыгрыш, короче.
Dignitas, they're starting to make their
Почему я
plays
тебя не
in this
могу
game.
найти, если напишу Team
And,
Dignitas?
also
Ну, потому что
their
просто
economy,
Dignitas,
because
наверное,
Exist
надо
is sitting on
писать.
8,000 with Halter
Просто
Forest
Dignitas и
following-
прямой эфир,
following
наверное,
in
так.
pursuit. with about 6.
Они же не называются Team Dignitas. Они просто Dignitas. Попробуй просто, типа, Dignitas и прямой эфир. Интересно.
Thinking of inching up rank initially, but scaffolding control gained early on. Okay, so this is where you see Forrest is incredibly aggressive from the CT side, and he's looking to get a flank in. That's Molotov by so much more time. And with the information they have, they can stack all 5 players on the A bomb side essentially. So now they have to find
Да это ты еще на прошлой карте же писал.
in a very explosive manner without too many trades going away. Otherwise, you could just see the same retake come through all over again.
Чё ты мучаешься, я не понимаю. Хочешь спать, иди спать. В чем проблемка? Спать это легально. Все можно. Тем более, типа, если рано вставать. Чё ты мучаешься?
And it all crumbles apart. Holzuk will also have to back up and save. He's not going to go for the 1v5. And as he misses the jump, he realizes just has to run away.
Смотреть.
Saving that 8
Ну это еще на полчаса как бы.
However, Dignitas, at least they've built up a bit of a bank that I was talking about earlier. Now they'll have to plunge into their savings to be able to buy for the next round. At the very least, they won't have to make an.
Потом Форзе и Ашеры, да, будешь смотреть?
So that saves their bank significantly.
Кого поставили? На победа лвлUP на второй карте.
Will only be buying 2 pieces of utility. He already has a smoke and a flashbang. Oh, he also drops a gun. He wants to make sure that his teammate has enough money for utility, which is a good call. So, still, the CT side, their economy isn't entirely battered down, even though their next buy would be amazing if they do end up losing the round. lvlUP somehow claw their way back in, and now they have the lead again.
Impulse and company moving up ramp. And you can see again, B side is where GetRight is getting very aggressive. He wants to move through, he wants to find something, but there is a lurk in the form of AVN.
Ну, последняя карта для дигов тяжелая, как бы. Действительно тяжелая. Но могут. Как-никак опыт, возраст должны сказаться на результате. Хотя у носорогов действительно вертига посимпатичнее будет.
4v4 and damage exchange, yes, but Exist pre-firing away will find the bomb and Necrogenesis will fall to Forest. 3v2.
At least Forrest is quite low on HP. Oh, that nade could have even caught him there to make it a 2 versus 2, but he's still alive. The question is, how much can he kick? And
Пошел все-таки, ну давай.
Not too much. AVN and Impulse, 2-on-2. They have the bomb.
Форза Хашеры, конечно, поинтереснее
They
будет.
just have Halzerk to deal with initially.
Думаешь, что они ни одной карты не возьмут, да? То есть вообще без шансов.
On the ramp itself comes down to a 1 versus 2, and AVN will be backing off, looking for a different place to hit, which should be the
Exist на опыте префайром спреет. Но то он и опыт.
GetRight has been faked out. He's already on the B site, but now AVN has to hurry because there's only 10 seconds on the clock. He has to get the bomb down soon. And if GetRight throws that nade, it should be goodbye for AVN. He's coming around the corner. He lands the first shot. He almost gets the second, but it doesn't.
GetRight, what are you doing?
Saves the day, but that got a little too dicey.
Just a little. Just a little bit. Yeah. The lvlUP still 6-6, and this is where the advantage of the early 5 rounds of the D side comes in. Although Dignitas looks like they've really got some of their act together, are playing more effectively.
А есть такой виджет в Ютубе, чтобы количество зрителей показывало где-то отдельным окном, типа такого нету. Тут, конечно, кривовастенькая для стримов платформа. Я все больше и больше думаю про Twitch, но подкупаю то, что не так тупит YouTube относительно Твича. Потому что Twitch ужасно лагает. Как он говорил, после пика досчитываю до 2 и начинаю спреять. Да.
lvlUP, on the other hand, Dimk is a beast. He's playing incredibly effectively. We've seen D step up quite a lot as well. So the translation of the second half is a big ask. 1:15 on the clock though, and Freiburg, who's been playing in mid for
И тут
so
я
long,
начинаю шмалять,
looks like
да?
he might finally be given just a bit of action. Grenade comes in, beautifully
То так
placed,
всё-таки
lots of
мейнкасты
damage,
дошли.
and Freiburg,
Так,
well,
это и
Freiburg
был
coming out
мейнкаст.
is a double peak from himself and
Они
Forrest
кинули
before
страйк
it goes off means that he will be caught out as
на
well.
то, что я
Next
стримил
one,
ESL.
Genesis has been fantastic, but Exist comes in
Но я
behind
это
the
все
break.
в видео
General
уже
has to
светил.
step up, and he does do so.
Я ж там видео записал.
Halsey connects with one, but it's
По Твичу
Get
всех
Right
ужасно
kills
лагает.
to keep everything up
У них
and
проблема с
running.
серверами, и они все никак не могут
This
выделить
is
денег, что
a
ли.
showing and a
Знаю.
half in that particular round. Exist finding those 2 kills after the initial mistakes from Freiburg and Forest have been
Неужели,
made
типа,
are huge.
не знаю, имея
Guys, again, I know Horzo's on
такую
12
атмосферную
kills, these are
вообще
not super impact kills, so these are a lot
контору,
of these are a lot of rounds
нельзя
where he was just the last
выделить
player alive and
большую
found a couple of kills.
часть денег,
That
чтобы
has zero
просто
impact.
производительность наладить, чтобы люди
Yes, it does
не
in the
уходили
sense
на
that
YouTube.
now that he's on
Они же просто банально теряют
a
свою
relatively
аудиторию.
poor buy, and they are going to have to eco. But all in all, it's not really the performance that you're expecting. That's super high impact. That's the closer. That's the clutcher. That's making everything work out. And Exist at this stage, it's just a very clean little few lineups for him. Anti-eco kills for days.
Так ты же CSL? Ну да. Таким пофиг, они кидают страйки, даже если ESL стримишь.
Dignitas are heavily still relying on some of those nice little tap. Gotta love it.
Поэтому
But
неважно,
they're
как
heavily
бы
relying
ESL это
on
или
some of these
мейнкаст.
individual plays to
Они
come
просто
through.
кидают
Don't get me
страйк,
wrong,
типа это
they
их
have made
видео.
adjustments that allow
Всё.
them to have a significantly easier time playing the CT side, so it's a little better than before. But that individual skill can't always come through to save you. And with the way we've seen lvlUP play against 9, some of the adjustments they made on their CT side, that's really going to come back to bite Dignitas. Now, lvlUP starting to go for a very hard and fast ramp push. Exist will have to try to hold down the line, but the nade works out perfectly. They've already gotten one Freiburg chime.
Но если они все-таки 9 возьмут, то защиту это норм.
They've tried to contest ramp, but before they really get anything done, I think Freiburg should be coming right around the corner. MK is wise to his tricks, but Freiburg isn't revealing his hand just yet. lvlUP having to slow down their pace, and as they do that,
Они думают, что если они забанили какого-то мальчика со 100 зрителями, то все резко побегут на Twitch.
MK falls as well. There's pretty much a mowdown.
9-6, Dignitas do find themselves.
Да, к сожалению, да.
They bring it back to a very impressive position, but again,
Простые работяги не постримят.
I was just looking at Exist. He was just standing in the
Не, постримят, конечно, но рано или поздно отлетят как бы
arms folded, standing in the flames.
в бан. Поэтому
Gotta love it.
все, кто сейчас стримят ESL,
can we love their T side?
как бы рано или поздно они схавают бан. Ну, как я. То есть я-то стримил чисто ESL, английскую версию. Вообще никого ничего не трогал. Бах, и все. Поэтому... Кто сейчас будет стримить там завтра, они рано или поздно тоже отлетят, к сожалению.
Dignitas would really want to win out their pistol round. Double utility comes in. Opening kill is there. Impulse to fall. D to try and bring it back, but doesn't connect. And Forrest finds 2 with just 4 HP.
lvlUP, it's not the
Ты же ESL можешь через GoTV стримить? Да нет. Нет, конечно, ты чё? Зачем им давать GoTV на ESL, если они могут продать за миллионы долларов права? Что за глупости ты пишешь? Зачем им это делать? Если это все купят за невероятные бабки. Смысл один и тот же, как бы ты стримишь не год ТВ. Но в самой КС транслируется ESL. Ну и чё, какая разница? То ты там включишь ESL, то ты в игре включишь ESL.
Into the slightly less hot fire.
Get shot in the leg or the knee, just pick one. And if you choose leg, you can still get shot in the knee. It's just a little more general.
That's true, that is true. Now,
Заходишь туда и можешь спокойно смотреть через ГО-ТВ и стримить. А ты что-то путаешь, такого не может быть. Почему никто не стримит через ГО-ТВ тогда? Я ни одного человека не видел через ГО-ТВ, кто стримил. Так никто этого не делает, такого нету. Я не знаю, о чем ты. Ни один человек ни на одной платформе так не делал. Я не видел ни одного стрима через ГО-ТВ. Вообще ни одного. Вау. Импульс. Зачем ты так их сильно? Но теперь появляется шанс все-таки немножко компактнуть. Немножко хотя бы.
This is it indeed, Impulse. From what could have been a very dicey situation to end up maybe 12-6 because of the free rounds you get, or 11-6. He's already gotten themselves a round win right after losing the first one. So really well done from him, and that is one
То есть как минимум на ХЛТВ был бы опубликованный IP ГО-ТВ. Это максимум какую-нибудь бомжатскую Есею дают ГО-ТВ. Все.
Or at least teams of their caliber. Let's see if that translates onto a team of veterans.
Зевсом ХЗ бан до сих пор не прилетел.
Could be taking contact with D
Немножко не понял.
because D hasn't given up any audio information. It might be an easy kill for him. Still a bit of a buy on the Dignitas side. They've pretty much exhausted all of their money, and Forrest will be moving in from connector. Dimk and D, they're not getting sandwiched anytime soon.
Bumps.
They're holding on to their horses. Even though Forrest is able to get one kill, it just materializes into a pretty clean round win for the level up side.
And this should be another one of those coming in, where I have to remind everyone that
Мейджор Галкрака 217 на Твиче через ГО-ТВ все матчи показывал. Нет, так если есть ГО-ТВ, то вопросов нет. Но по поводу ESL я не видел ни одного вообще.
You can't even say, yeah, you know that one strat from 2013 we ran and we beat that one team in the final, probably very games.
Vertigo had like 17
Но если есть общедоступный ГО-ТВ, то он подразумевается, что любой человек может зайти и постримить. А то он как бы и создан. Но с другой стороны, типа... Ну, это надо читать, изучать. Потому что даже если в теории я захожу в ГО-ТВ и стримлю, то все равно я получаю страйк. Потому что у меня нету прав на это. Я могу типа смотреть в личном пользовании, но не стримить. Я типа могу посмотреть, но я стримить, мне нет прав стримить публично. Права есть у мейнкаста и у ESL. И еще у партнеров. Я же не партнер. То есть ты в любом случае будешь забанен. А типа, если ты хочешь посмотреть, даже если это действительно есть, то смотри, пожалуйста. Но стримить это, будь добр, как бы, будь партнером. Ну, все логично. То есть кто-то покупает права, чтобы стримить за миллионы долларов, а кто-то через ГО-ТВ стримит, понимаешь? В чем... Точно так же и студия может зайти на ГО-ТВ и стримить, правильно? Правильно. Так что... Без шансов, как бы. К сожалению.
Ready and waiting for the CT side players, but AVN is backing off initially.
Да, что их читать? И так понятно, что там все продается.
Dignitas has split up these CT players very effectively. This should be a big round for them to come through unless AVN and Impulse can come in with a big individual play. Impulse getting aggressive, dodging a flash, comes in, but it's only the one. AVN will be the one to try and go for a multi. However, 2-for-2 trade. Now the CTs are coming back for a retake. The one good thing that they've got going for them is these grenades. And as they fly out, unfortunately, they find thin air.
Что, носороги? 2-2. Важный раунд для вас. Все-таки вы его берете, то камбэку быть.
Money saved up for weaponry in the next round, so they can
Надо двигаться. Гранат нет, но есть диффузы. А, есть молик, отлично. По идее, сгорел.
Has to pick up the pieces for where his teammates faltered. He comes around the corner, misses a shot.
2015-2017, когда можно было показывать матчи менеджеров. Вау, а зачем Гзист решил попикаться? Выиграл бы раунд. Очень странно, Гзист, конечно, подавил раунд. Вышел, умер. Ну да, 2015-17. Ну я тогда еще с КС-кой не вникал в КС-ку, как сейчас. Я тогда только плотно работал тогда. Клон? Что это значит?
Now with the scoreline being equalized, have given up many more rounds than they would have liked to. They have only found one in the past 5. And this one
Когда считает до 3, потом пикай, знаешь, что он каленый. Ну, это был подарочный раунд, конечно. Ой, какая халява. Гзи смотрит на пятки свои. Буквально, если бы на полсекунды вышел раньше, позже, то раунд был бы выигран. Почти успел он, да, выстрелить?
He's performed very well in the first map, so maybe he can get another clutch through to get things going for Dignitas. And he switched over to the M4. Bomb in hand, also has a flashbang and has plenty of time to get the bomb down soon. Fakes it out. He still has no information on where these players are. He doesn't know if they're rotated, but the way lvlUP are playing this is to perfection. They're trying to make sure that he has to take 1 versus 2.
Сколько уже он катает.
Necrogenesis is not expecting it, but he still flicks around.
Представь, сколько там опыта, какой там багаж.
Has suddenly fallen apart. lvlUP 11-10. They suddenly have the lead.
Какой же у него там
they haven't been able to get past
багаж опыта. Ну, прикольный момент, конечно.
And look at that replay. Dimk has played that to perfection. D and Dimk
Максимально полезно,
such a good combo going over
смотря на пяточки.
Previously when we casted them against 9, this is something that had worked out for them many times as well. We know that Dimk loves playing off of that flashbang from D, and he almost always finds success off of it. And the nature of that flashbang is so brutal that it's pretty much always a 3 to 4 second flash, unless, or even worse, unless you really drop the ball or somebody's playing an anti-flash position.
Technical timeout comes in. This should give the teams some time to just discuss things over. Obviously, I'm not saying they should, because obviously, generally speaking, it's better idea not to, but it's a technical timeout. It's online. We know that this is exactly how it'll work. But at the end of the day, we'll get through it. So I'm putting you on the spot. Okay, you are now Fiflaren. Okay, you are now a Fiflaren who doesn't look that good. What do you say to Dignitas?
Alright, boys, good luck next. No, I'm just kidding.
Научили Мадонна Рвеша сначала прицеливаться, а потом зажимать. Ничего, научит.
I'm actually gonna have to think about this for a bit. I really need to dive in to the good old brain juice, which I don't have much of, unfortunately. We haven't really seen many set pieces from Dignitas. They've been playing a very
Бры все-таки дожали, да ладно. Дожали, да? Сейчас я гляну. Что там по счету получилось?
I'm still waiting to see some of that.
А, ты имеешь в виду про Singularity? Ну да.
But I'm actually very interested in hearing your point of view in this matter, because maybe you've seen something I haven't.
Just default.
Press live copy на Apex F4.
And find a pick.
На то, что они вернутся в карте или что? Копенгагены и Апексы, да, победа?
work regardless, because you very heavily rely on an AWP being
Чё
able to
себе.
lock down some of the initial duels over
Что там,
on
такие
ramp.
карты?
And
Оверпасы даст, да?
so far not proven to be the best of ideas for them. So let's see how they go for it.
Чё себе.
It does seem like they're setting up for a B hit. The bomb's been dropped all the way back at the spawn.
Это ты
though, so
сейчас,
maybe
типа,
it's more for
поставил?
default that's going for mid control. D will have a fault in him. As he is going to be forced back after missing a shot. Impulse comes in and steps up the pace.
То, что Апексы камбэкнут, да?
Trying to fight back. Grenade is not good, and Forrest, yes, he comes in with a kill, but the responses are just too swift. Maybe not default, actually. Maybe I'm wrong.
Окей. Окей.
So little unfortunate that Dignitas aren't really able to catch a break in many
4 Апексы,
regards.
вторая карта.
I have to commend the
Да,
players
это
over
вижу.
on
Там
B
потом
for
даст, да,
level
будет,
up, though.
по-моему.
Dimke and D have played it so well, and even I believe it was Impulse that they had over there. Their trust to understand that their teammate will be able to hold down the line on the opposing angle, just completely focus towards stairs while your teammate is watching connector. That is really commendable because they're they're banking on their teammates to be able to get the job done on the other end of the site. So they can completely zone out and tunnel vision onto the duels that really matter in where they're standing. Now, Dignitas going for a very utility-heavy play, but this is when they don't have much weaponry. D has picked up too. Dimke chimes in with damage, but damage hasn't really been done to a significant degree. Two players have fallen off of these players.
Дают 6 на Апексов на второй карту. Вот так вот.
Freiburg. Oh, Molotov comes in. It doesn't do much. Freiburg's waiting for the push to come through. Forrest with a great 2K, but now he's got to get more done.
Давай,
He
будь
wants
здоров.
to peek out. He wants to aggress, and he finds them. It's now a 1v1. Necrogenesis needs to come out on top. Holzek, not the best of games so far, but this would be a big moment, and he
Красиво, да?
comes in
Молодец, сыграл.
and takes it away. 11th round on the board for Dignitas, but it was not pretty, not at all.
That actually scares me quite a bit because when Dignitas took it back on Nuke, that was off of a Forest clutch. So when you see that come in, you know things are starting to get a little dicey. So well done, though.
Yeah. Great stuff, all in all. And double up setup is available on the level up side. The question is, with the grenade going... See, the question is, how do they want to play this? Because so far, I thought a single op has been serving them pretty well because Impulse on his rifles has been solid. Even on his deagles has been really solid, obviously. So, the double up is really surprising to me. It seems like they want to find these early pickoffs, but Dignitas isn't playing a very spread apart default. They're actually playing positions where you should theoretically be able to trade off of pretty well, so you want to have rifles in those, and these rifles have done really well. Impulse, however, is getting aggressive. He's showing me where the double op should be used and finds himself a kill and a tag. Necrogenesis finishes off Freiburg, and it's suddenly a 3v4.
Dignitas, sure, that clutch by Forrest and Halzerk was amazing, but you need to get a lot more work done if you want to get past the finish line when level up is there waiting, guarding it. The T's now starting to move up ramp. Impulse will have to reposition, but that Molotov is good enough to deny him getting on top of the boost. Necrogenesis has two angles to contend with. Spots the player in alley, picks up one, and others coming up behind him, and the double peek will ensure the kill. Exist and Halzerk have to try to get this clutch in again. It always comes down to this. Impulse taps away through the smoke. Exist picks up a kill. This would be a great time for everybody to step up. And it's still a 2 versus 2. Dimke is coming in from ramp. Aldrich is quite low. Dimke picks him up, and it's just down to Exist, who unfortunately just hasn't found the best of successes when he's trying to clutch it out towards ramp.
Indeed. And with that, Level Up have found themselves the 13th round. Impulse, some fantastic kills, and where I was doubting the double up setup, turns out I should not have.
And it's also the double op that makes it to the end. They're even able to pick it up, and that's quite a bit of money being saved.
It is, but Dignitas, they're going for the timeout. They're trying to figure things out. They know there's a double up. So this is where your suggestion of executes comes into play. The only question is, do they know the executes? Do they know the smokes? This isn't one of their favorite maps. We've made this very abundantly clear that Vertigo, they've played 4 times. The only win they had was in double overtime or triple overtime. Double overtime, yes.
Как думаешь, что победит? Носороги, думаю, победят. Я еще вначале говорил. Думаю, носороги. Но это только предположение, но они основываются на играх, которые я уже смотрел, а их как бы немало. Я из того, что я видел, должны носороги.
Nade to follow up, but that's only 2 points of health. It could have potentially taken him out had he not repositioned.
Yeah. Still a lot of damage being dealt to him early on. I think this is the first time we're seeing him on the AWP on the T side.
Странно, конечно, что мало людей. Мне нет вообще никакого смысла, наверное, что-то рассказывать. То есть, что-то будете писать, буду вам отвечать. Я сейчас камись отредактирую видосики, которые я загружал.
And there comes the execute, there comes the anti-double or play. Necrogenesis, however, is here to step up, but he's stepped down.
Единственное, конечно, что спасает Дигов, то, что они за атаку отыгрывают, и экономически, естественно, они в выигрыше. То есть камбэкать тут Дигом именно в этой ситуации, конечно, проще.
Flashbang comes out. Now the retake starts to happen. Halzerk is quite low. They're doing quite a bit of damage, but D catches one through the concrete. 4 versus 3. The CTs are already all over the bomb site. Freiburg plays around the ramp. The smoke is
Вот как бы 14-й подъехал. Почему никто не диффузит? Чего они бегают друг за другом? Что за ошибки? Очень сильно они, конечно, рисковали вот этими перебежками. Выглядело это все очень забавно, конечно. Прям какие-то перебежчики.
Not so close, so far.
Well, this is the point where the smoke from D misses a shot, and that's going to be huge. That could have been a big opportunity to ignore the damage that's been dealt to the CT side.
Просто если, допустим, этот раунд проигрывается, да, с экономикой проблема, и там дарится 13. То есть, как бы они хорошо не отыгрывали, но один проигранный раунд расценивается в 2 в этой ситуации. А Диги, конечно, в преимуществе для экономики.
Going for a easy breezy retake, even if it seems very high pressure for them, but they prefer that.
I mean, can you blame them? Their anchors have been so good.
They have been. Dimk has been one of those anchors. D is surely here to help. Will find himself another opportunity, but the smoke comes in way too late.
Ну вот как бы, к сожалению. Тут хотя бы Кольт бы засейвил. Хорошая попытка, конечно, но целесообразнее было все-таки засейвить 2 кольта.
This might just be an opportunity for Dignitas to come back into it, because while lvlUP looked very strong, they were consistently losing 2 or 3 players across the board. That meant that they would eventually have to buy up for their teammates over and over. And look at where that has left their economy. They're down to that $1,400 loss bonus because Dignitas just weren't able to piece that many rounds together. lvlUP moving in straight with the USPs. They're just trying to get it done.
Очень странно, конечно, что крайне мало людей. Как будто типа ESL нету. Ну и типа хрен с ним. Кэсик тогда сегодня смотреть мы не будем. Нету ESL.
Being done by just USPs charging at them. That's something we saw from Dignitas before, but it's lvlUP that ends up doing it this time.
Там-то как бы атакса еще.
Level up at this stage with both ops ready and waiting.
Но даже этой игры нету на стриме.
I really want to see them switch out from the double up, honestly. Or just let Impulse have it. If you want Impulse to have an op at this stage. But very fast play from Freiburg comes through as they take control of the scaffolding. Dignitas are gaining some sort of momentum, some sort of confidence. However, their A-bomb site hits have not really yielded much results so far. Impulse is now looking to re-aggress forward with this close range angle. The AWP doesn't get the shot in as it goes through the wall instead. And the early advantage has been given up yet again. Can D come forward and bring it back? Molotov keeps the T's at bay. Forest's position is huge. But again, Dimkate not rotating back, and D is content with moving in for a quick refrag. 55 seconds. Can Dignitas get onto this bomb site?
This is going to be a very pivotal round. It's the make or break situation, and D is looking to make it, but Exist denies him the second frag. Flashbang is perfect. Avian falls as well. Necrogenesis
Ключевой момент, кстати. Да, ключевой момент выигран. Ну и, скорее всего, игра выиграна.
3K from Necrogenesis to hold down the line in a situation that looked bleak. He was the last line of defense, but he's gotten
Как только повернул голову, это сразу произошло. Чуть не пропустил.
Enormous round, absolutely enormous coming out. Look at this, Necrogenesis has been so
Файбер, конечно, тут не ожидал, но это товарищ последний, кто это, Форест. Форест и походу проиграл пацанам игру.
The multi-kill comes in, makes it work. He's 20 for 18, and I can say safely every single one of those kills is an incredibly high impact one, pretty much.
Dignitas. That was the make or break round. Like I said, for them to win that round would actually put level up in the economic deficit big enough to give Dignitas the advantage because they'd eventually make it to 15 before level up would be able to buy
Перезагружу потом комп
but
и
now
запущу.
we're looking at Dignitas, who instead have to take the short end of the stick and have a scrappy buy. Barely any utility to work with as well because and sorry, that means that if they do end up going to a bomb site, they'll have to heavily commit. They already use a significant amount of their utility on ramp, which is something they're not committing to. Freiburg takes a few hits before he eventually moves into the connector. The B site is looking like Dignitas' final destination. Dimke is playing off of the one-way smoke. He picks up the first frag. Now his position is revealed. Exist goes for the refrag. Dimke is trying to find more. Impulse gets an AWP kill as well, and amidst the chaos, it comes down to a 2-1-2. Freiburg does not find the end player.
Что один, что второй. 500 лет играют в эту игру и не могут на бомбу сыграть вдвоем перекрестным огнем, да? В итоге они дарят игру. Спасибо. Меньше будем ждать. Ужасно много ошибок. Даже смотреть такое. Кисленько. Ну, как я и думал, так и получилось, как бы. С учетом того, что столько ошибок было допущено. Причем людьми, которые вообще за десятилетия должны исключать все это. Ладно, сейчас я быстро перезапускаю.